Welcome everybody to the A.I.P channel where anything is possible. I'm over here clicking the wrong buttons and doing my normal thing. Um, we got I think, some interesting topics tonight. We got lots of different videos to show and different topics. Um, we got Dave. Dave will be here in a little bit. Jamie won't be able to make it tonight, so it's just going to be the Ricky and Dave show tonight. So uh, it is what it is. We're going to have fun still. Hopefully Jamie can come on in the chat and kind of pop up and speak to us and say hi, and so that'll be still be fun. I'm looking for my Facebook. I guess I did. I messed up on Facebook. Oh well, it is what it is. Oh, here it is. I found it. Too many tabs. I was like, man, I know I had it all set up. Stupid Facebook. All right, now we're live on Facebook. We're live on the YouTube. Should be live. Yeah, buttons are hard, James. We are live on Rumble. I'm like, man, what in the world? But some days are better than others when we're trying to do all this stuff. But yeah, tonight we want to got some cool videos to show you. Um, hey, David, we're going to be a little bit late, but that's okay. I can catch him up on some of this stuff. Um, how'd y'all how'd y'all make it through the alien invasion? It was yesterday. You know, there was supposed to be predicted an alien invasion. Um, it didn't happen. I guess we can see, but yeah, it's maybe by the first of the year, maybe we'll still get our alien invasion. Uh, Elizondo had his own put on his podcast today for the first time. Yeah, we'll talk about that. You can hear in the stress in my voice so how impressed I was with it. Um, Probably won't watch again just because it was a waste of my time. At least I was driving down the road, so it wasn't like I was taking time from something else. So I could have been listening to something else. There's lots of other great shows to listen to other than that. So let's pop up. Oh, looking for our YouTube. There's Sweets. Sweets is in the YouTube chat. I said we got James of Cedo Paranormal in the Rumble chat so far. So uh, going to be a good time. Click back and forth. I'll go ahead and start some of these cool videos I pulled up. Like I said, I got a bunch of stuff. And where's it at? Where's it at? We got lots of bookmarks and tabs, and we got stuff everywhere. So kind of one of them days. Uh, this one here kind of intrigued me here. Shut up, dude. Let me post you first.
I don't know who could have possibly done this.
Well, Will, one of the ships was in fact inspected by the Coast Guard and they couldn't find anything. The thing is that there were several other suspicious ships in the region that they never got to. And Will, it gets worse. Just a couple of months earlier, there were several mystery drone flights over our nuclear testing range in Nevada, just north of Las Vegas. And again, nothing was done. And it gets even worse. Some of the FBI agents that have been assigned to look into this have reported drones flying over their homes as if to say, hey, we know where you are. And so I really think that what this does is it boils down to an administration that doesn't take these threats seriously. You just had on the previous segment a drone attack on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's house. Of course, we've seen with Russia and Ukraine the utility of drones.
Right.
And yet, somehow we're preventing our warriors from defending their own bases by saying, oh no, you need to get permission from the Attorney General or from Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas. No, that's wrong. Base commanders have an inherent authority within their command to defend their bases.
Well, why wasn't that done, Chuck?
Yeah, kind of having drones flying over. I don't get docked. I finally got my check mark took off today, so I'm back in the good graces of YouTube. So I won't put nothing there too much. What's up, Jess? I got Jess of Escape to Simulation has come on the chat. Awesome, awesome. We're going. Yeah, but over here we got unknown drones flying over these poor people's houses. It's kind of messed up there a little bit. And the other cool thing I got lots of cool stuff. I'm probably going to show double stuff because when Dave gets here, I like to show some of the stuff to him. And I know he's gonna go back and watch it too, so it's all good. But see what y'all think of this one here. Ooh.
This thing is making a gradual movement down to the water, and it's like it's showing off. It's not trying to hide. It's not in a hurry.
It's teasing you. And you can see the reflection from it's a real light. It's reflecting off the ocean. It's right down there. Is it going to go in? And boom, there it's in the water.
And you can see the reflection in the water. It's I've never seen anything like that. It was unbelievable. And I've talked to people since who work ROVs, who work these sensor equipment, things like that, and they've never seen anything like that either.
Tell by the color of the water. Oh, this is a light.
It's getting deeper too.
Under the ocean. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it getting deeper as it goes down. It's not just sitting on the surface and there's swell between you and whatever it is. That thing's in the water and it's diving.
And it's going deeper, and it reminds me of the green because it does look green when it goes into the water, and that's because it's like a yellow light and then the color of the water like you described earlier. So this thing is in the water.
The bioluminescence of it, yeah.
And what makes you say it goes deeper?
Well, you can see it. It fades. It doesn't come back up out of the water there. It's equalizing to its surrounding, I have a feeling. And it submerges. You can see it go down into the water until the water, the darkness of the water, consistency of the water
It's me. I messed up. Buttons, like James said earlier, buttons are messed up. My fault, sweets. Yeah, we and everybody. Yeah, we one of these days we had that was a kind of interesting USO, and they got all these USOs and UAPs, and I don't know, I call them UFOs. I'm gonna call them that UFO since I was a kid, and it's pretty neat to see more. You can see more and more of them every. It seems like more and more footage of them. Of course, some of it can get debunked, especially get on Twitter and you look around and see some of the videos and stuff. You can see it's like reflections, especially when they're shining through a car window. A lot of times there's reflections in the car window and stuff like that. You can kind of debunk it, but um, sometimes you can't debunk it, and it's interesting to see what it is. So I got picked up quite a few videos a day, and been collecting them a little bit, getting ready for the night. Yeah, I see James saying on the Rumble. Yeah, I was muted for a second. Oops, oopsie, oopsie. One day I'll get a hang of this stuff. It's only episode 23, so 23 weeks straight of talking with conspiracy on the A.I.P channel. So that's pretty good, being to be able to be that consistent and uh, steadily adding people and having people come on and stuff like that. So it's been fun. It's been a fun journey, and I appreciate everybody been joining me on it. Um, Come on, I got all these cool bookmarks and stuff. Nah, I don't want to do. Yeah, talking about the alien invasion. Supposed to be. I've been talking about this for a long time. Where they going? I think Project Bluebeam. They're gonna use it.
In the year
Me personally.
2024, the world will stand witness to a massive alien invasion. Thousands of projected holographic alien warships will blanket the skies, sending people into a panic. Real military crafts within the holograms will inflict actual damage to the surrounding areas to sell the gimmick. And as a result of the ensuing human chaos, a one world government will immediately form without any resistance from the people. They will be the new world order. Once this happens, we as a people will be doomed to enslavement and accelerated depopulation. With that said, the only hope for human salvation is to acquire and spread the knowledge of these activities and agendas. Resist, retaliate, then conquer this imposing enemy. The time is now.
I'll say I always ask. On regular podcasts and on here. I just try to ask questions and see what y'all think. And um, like I said, I do. The potential's there. The so many false flags has happened over the years, and why not another one like this kind of magnitude? You know, couldn't see why they wouldn't. Thanks, James, for the 23 weeks is um, going live has been it's been a lot. There's it's been a pretty neat learning curve and everything. Of course, on my other videos, I messed around and got way ahead on it. So um, I got the regular podcast, which it popped today. I don't forget what got. It's one on Project High Jump. It got released today, so it's gonna be. Yeah, it's every Wednesday. It's released also, so I'm all the way up. I think up to almost to February now. So you know, only way I can do it. Only way to stay kind of sweet, and stay ahead. What's up, hiker? Got a hiker emoji. She is back on the Rumble. See if I make sure I'm checking on the chat. That's the hard part, keeping up with the chat. I take my hat off to Mr. Strange and how well he does it. Of course, he's been doing it for many years, so he got experience on me. But I'm still impressed. Uh, using that and the restream and all that stuff. It's a lot. Tonight, like I said, as you can see, it's just me right now. We got Dave coming for the ones just tuning in. Jamie won't be able to make it tonight right now, so it's all good. Uh, so this is kind of the first live and by myself, kind of actually trying to do something. I've done live by myself with messing around and looking at stuff and trying stuff, but this will be the first one for me solo for a little bit. So, like I said, I do appreciate y'all. I didn't want to try to do. What's up, Mr. Strange? Mr. Strange is in the house even. Look at that. He came in right as I was talking about him. I spoke him up. Cool, cool. Yeah. Um, yeah, I was sitting there, see my little videos and stuff I had all setting up. You know, we had the potential um, invasion yesterday, which didn't happen. We've got all kinds of wild stuff going on. Um, checking on my checking on all my stuff here. So I'm used to having James. I used to having Dave and Jamie to kind of fill in talking. So I did like this one here, this post right here. I'll share it on my screen. Said the fake alien invasion has been called off due to new studies that show it will unite us rather than divide us. Said thanks to Illuminati. Can't even speak. I wouldn't surprise me none one so bit. It wouldn't surprise me not a bit. So I do man, looking for my little link. Not doing well right now. As always in the chat, y'all want to speak up and you want to sit there and everything. I do have put these in the chat. I haven't used it yet, so but this is potentially if you're on the computer, you can do it. You don't have to download nothing. If you wanted to actually call in, and I'd try that. I'll sure. I'm always about learning, so like I said, especially until Dave and even when Dave and all of them get here. So oh, that was me. Yeah, the new podcast by I wasn't Elizondo podcast. I wasn't too impressed with the thing. It was kind of, um, I don't know. He just all he said was like, man, he's thankful that the, what this stuff is going on, but and nobody had to go to jail, and he's thankful that people are listening, and because his clearance, he wanted to keep his clearance, so he's able to do that, and that's about all he said, and I said the power is in our hands for to unleash the knowledge or whatever, but I don't know. I think he just got. He might not at first, but I think now he's more gone to the point of being like a money grab or something because he just trying to piggyback. Which he want to make money. There's nothing wrong with that. But it is what it is. I don't see it. I don't see it. Every time somebody asks you a question and you just all you do is say, you can't answer. Even when you're in front of the Congress, it's kind of, what's the point in you getting out there in front of everybody? At least we got to see a, possible UAP on. Oh hell, Bitcoin just hit 100,000. I was wondering when it was going to do that. I was thinking it was going to. Bitcoin just hit 100,000. Good God. Interesting. Well, hopefully all the other coins shoot up too. Man, it's 101. Goodness. Keep on going. I'll put that up there. 101. Man, I just went back down to 179 a little bit, but man, I kicked myself in the head. If I could, I'd kick myself in the head because I remember seeing, thousands of people would be like that. I remember seeing Bitcoin, like, ain't they gonna be? There's no way they're gonna do anything like that. I could have got into it years and years ago. Yeah, I kind of even 4 or 5 years ago. I wish I'd spent a little more money into it. It would still be worth some pretty good money, even a piece of a Bitcoin, with it being $100,000 a piece now. That's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Last 24 hours, as low as 94,000 up to 101.4. Man, like I said, I hope all the other ones, I got some of the other ones, some of the smaller coins that wasn't worth a whole lot at the time. Hopefully that's take off. If I do, I'll be able to. A couple of them's hit pretty good. If they hit hell, some of them I got so many of them. They hit a penny, I'm gonna retire. Which I'll be still doing the same thing I'm doing now. Yeah, podcasting and teaching jujitsu. I still wouldn't stop doing what I'm doing. I'd just be able to spend more money on the things I wanted. That's all. That's wild though how much has got into it. Up to 100. That's a lot of money for potentially, not, you know, it's still scary in the end. Yeah, a bunch of binary code, and if, like if we have hurricanes or something like that, natural, just normal natural disasters, you can't use it, just like our debit cards. Most people, people fuss about, digital money and stuff, then they, but then you ask yourself, how much you actually carry around cash anymore? Well, one, it's kind of not safe anymore to carry, especially if you're around a big city. It ain't safe to carry around a bunch of cash in your pocket. And you're gonna get robbed, and if they do, you're gonna take all your damn money. So you don't carry much cash. So you actually use digital currency every day when you flat swiping that debit card. All them people, all the uh, and the hurricanes and natural disasters, and especially right there in North Carolina stuff, hey, they ain't got no power. So if they don't have any cash to get anything, if they can get it, even get it out of there to get to where there's something where you can buy, got to put a little some back. You got to put some in a old mason jar in your backyard like them old guys used to do. If you don't, it's going to be. I wish I kept my Doge, Jess. But I got some. I got some Shiba. I forgot. I got a few million. Take my cash, leave my crypto alone, James. For sure. I know it's so volatile. Everything, all of it's so volatile. I mean, we think about our dollar, well, it's, and our dollar, the dollars ain't worth nothing. It's petrol. It's all petrol money. It's all in the price of oil and what people think it's going to be and all that kind of stuff is the only thing the value of our dollar and people would actually want to have interest in using it. That's why you see all that stuff with Trump and talking to the BRICS nations wanting to tariff the hell out of them because they stop using the dollar to buy stuff, then they won't be doing less business with us to receive those dollars. Then the value of the dollar will just go down too. Be just a lose-lose situation. On my AD brain on by myself on here. It's gonna be a good one. Yeah, Shiba hits a dollar. Jess, I'm good too. And like I said, I'm gonna retire. I'm gone. Hell, it might. I had to look at it. Hell, if it hits about a penny, hell, or a dime, hell, I'm good. And sit back and collect checks. I've seen some crazy. It's some. You get on Twitter and stuff. There's so much crazy stuff going on there. Um, Absolutely insane. Let's see. You got drones flying over military bases that can't say nothing. Um, the CEO of United Healthcare got ended. I don't even show that on YouTube. Be mad at me on my video if I show that. But there's video of him, you know, getting killed right in the middle of the street, broad daylight. Well, not daylight, but it's at night. But it's still just under the camera, under the light. No, no F's given whatsoever. That's why it makes you wonder what's going on with that. That's why you gotta be careful. Yeah, watch your. Uh, if I go into a big town, man, my head is on a swivel and I'm looking at every corner. You got to. Yeah, see what's around you. And even then, it's you never know. But keep your head on the swivel and be safe. 'Cause, uh, we'll play part of this video. It's pretty. I think it was funny. Kid actually sit there and turn around and he pranked as a prank trying to get people to sign a petition to ban water and got people to sign it. That's how special we have our people now.
Vivek, as someone who has come across brainwashed leftists on campus, one of the moments my friends and I have seen them the most brainwashed is when it comes to climate change. Last year, around this time, we set up a table on campus, dressed up as Captain Planet, encouraging students to sign a petition banning dihydrogen monoxide, better known as water, to combat climate change. On its face, it sounds like a waste of time, but we ended up getting over 100 signatures to ban water. As someone who views himself as a
This next generation, I wonder about sometimes. Absolutely, I wonder about. Scares me. Just the educational system is just failed us. Absolutely, just failed us. Absolutely failed us. I said I wasn't planning on being by myself, so I had some things, and I said Dave would be here in a little bit. And bounce some ideas off his head. What I'm better at, you know. I seen where the states are trying to stop it from. They're trying to take. Some states are trying to take fluoride out of water, and there's people trying to fight them to get the fluoride back out of the water, even though it's been known for by many people that it uh, the uses for it, and being a byproduct and everything. But there's still some that want to try to stop it. Yeah, James. Yeah, I would love for you to if you would like to try it. I'm sure game. I'd be a um, I would love to because like I said, I've had people ask me about it, and then I started doing a little research for the program I use, and so that's one way of doing it. So if you want to try, that would be cool, and we can talk about anything you want to. That's what part of the podcast is. Anything is possible, and we can talk about anything across the board. Anything across the board. While James is figuring that out real quick, um, more on political stuff real quick, I guess. Um, the French government has pretty much been overthrown for in a vote of no confidence, and they had to let their step down and stuff. It's interesting seeing. Let me share this video with James is figuring that out.
Voici le résultat du scrutin. Majorité requise pour l'adoption de la motion de censure 288. Pour l'adoption 331. La majorité requise étant atteinte, la première motion de censure est adoptée. Et il n'y a pas lieu de mettre aux voix la seconde motion. Les conclusions de la commission mixte paritaire sur le projet de loi de financement de la sécurité sociale pour 2025 sont donc considérées comme rejetées. En raison de l'adoption de la motion de censure et conformément à l'article 50 de la Constitution, le Premier ministre doit remettre au président de la République la démission du gouvernement. Les travaux de l'Assemblée nationale sont ajournés.
Yeah, they got they got all stepped down. It's uh it's interesting to see everything. Well, people are just fed up. They're just fed up with the BS. Hopefully that'll make more and more people see. Um, like just a lot of issues. A lot of people are just fed up about and just tired of, and they're I seen seen this lady talking about flipping Chicago red just because of the gross misuse of tax dollars and what the mayor had said what he's going to do, and uh, it was it was a bunch of people down there was raising what in protest of exactly and wanting to use tax dollars for illegal immigrants and putting them up and there's so much. Speaking of that, I never what I was on Cyril. It's like one of the hotels in New York is actually owned. Let's see, I got it saved over here. I knew it. Mm-hmm. Come on, you slow computer. Work. Ah, I had it right here. All right. I want no dead air or nothing like that. So, uh, yeah, they had them. They were going off on the council on another ADD moment of the night. Did you did you see? Did y'all see that Trump said he wants to annex Canada and make it the 51st state? Of course, he was joking. Maybe, who knows? Of course, there's been conspiracy theories for years. Um, I remember back in the early 2000s stuff when I was sure jumping head first off in this crazy world. And what's up, Dave?
There he
You know,
is. Good evening. You hear me?
sir? Yeah, I
Can
can
you
hear
hear
you.
me?
I can hear
All
you.
right, good deal.
Okay. Yeah, they were talking about when I first got into this. They were talking about like the United States and Canada and Mexico actually becoming like one nation. They've been talks of that for decades. I know it was I think the 90s or something like that. You remember ever hearing anything about that day?
Sure. I remember Alex Jones blowing the whistle on a particular like freeway system that, I mean, essentially exists, I guess, connecting Mexico to Canada. It's not official, obviously, but um, and of course they hint at it in all the movies, Region 10, Region 9, that sort of thing. You get your regions and all that, but eradicating sovereign national borders is always the agenda with the globalists. I mean, they undermine and actively destroy sovereignty, erode it, if you will, with their every move. So, um, ultimately, they would like to rule everything. At least that's kind of the goal. It looks to be their goal.
Yeah, I was making the comment talking about Trump saying he wanted to annex Canada, messing with Trudeau, making him
Oh,
51st state. But maybe he was joking, maybe he wasn't. Um, of course, the prime minister or whatever,
right.
he was talking about they was joking, but
We'll have to fight England again for that. I don't see the crown going for that, but
I don't even have the power as they used to have.
sure, right. I remember when Trump wanted to buy Greenland or something like that, and everybody was laughing and stuff like that. But it'd be cool to cop a huge chunk of land. I mean, that's how. I mean, who's to say that couldn't happen anymore? You read about when we did the Louisiana Purchase and when we got this chunk and when we bought this. So why couldn't we, make a deal on a piece of land and annex them on in? Most folks, if we don't get in too much worse of shape, most folks would like to be a part of the United States.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see the hell the part of the people would want to do it. That way we don't have to go through Canada to get to Alaska.
Just thinking about like as a resource and having Canada, fuck, that'd be beautiful. That'd be awesome. Oh gosh. But yeah, they only get 2 senators, motherfucker. You get 2 senators and a bunch of reps, I guess. A bunch of representatives. Yes, get 2 senators, and we're gonna give you a governor and shit too. You're just a big ass state. Now they probably have to break it up in the like it is now. You got the provinces, and that'd be a big endeavor. You'd have a lot more states coming in that way.
That's what I thought. I was like, hell, each province would be its own little state, and then we put us up to around 60 or
So yeah, shape that down. I mean, how many provinces are there? I don't know. There's a handful. I mean, there's at least 6, 7, or maybe more. I mean, there's a bunch, right? Maybe 10. How many provinces you think there are? So that's a lot of fucking senators. That's a lot of who knows how that would play out. So, you know, Canada was dumb enough to vote in Trudeau. Fucking, you know, what's that communist out of Cuba? His son, right? We think that's his son. Looks just like him. The mama loved that boy. Fidel Castro. He's a fucking straight tyrant like his daddy, dictator. That's what they wanted. You know, I think they're getting tired of him, but I bet they're as stupid as we are when it comes to having a bunch of liberals. You know, so couldn't be much worse, I guess.
Yeah, there's 10 provinces in Canada, so you could add we could have 60 states.
That's 20 senators, and then the population, however many representatives comes with that. But that's a lot of senate. That's a lot of that changes the game.
Well,
Big time.
Strange asked, why does nobody like Trudeau, but he's still there? Well, I know they were supposed to have an election, but COVID happened, so they stopped the election up there, and so I think the next one's coming up pretty soon. So I seen that video. He was there at a plant, a steel mill or something like that, and Trudeau was trying to give people donuts and blah blah blah. Talking to this guy, and the guy's like, I don't believe shit you're saying. Have you seen that video?
No.
I'll look up. He's like, I don't have shit. I gotta look that up for you. It is classic. I watched it today. It was great. Yeah, dude was going off.
So that dude's fucking history.
Hopefully, probably so. And I'll say James of Salcedo Paranormal, he was going to try to come on. We were trying to use our link so we can have like a caller, but he was having troubles with it. So I'm gonna have to get with somebody and figure it out. Figure that link out so I can actually have people call in. That'd be kind of cool if somebody wanted to. Yeah, Mike. Strange. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Trudeau.
We'll start having fucking feds call in. If we get big enough, they'll call in and say weird shit to us. You listen to old Alex Jones shows. You'd have that.
They would try to take us down for sure. We got our check mark off. We are good now. We're actually.
Cool. On YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube. We're actually we're safe for. We're actually safe for a minute. I don't know, and maybe by the end of this video, we might. Who knows how it goes?
Right.
That's where we take it. I don't want to find that video. I'll keep looking at everything, but yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's been a crazy. We're supposed to have an alien invasion. We were talking about earlier. We were supposed to have an alien invasion yesterday, which we missed out on that. Doggone it.
I keep seeing that in the news feed that that's the topic. Everybody's expecting it, talking about it. They've been hinting at it or threatening it. However, so just another thing to watch on the event horizon here.
Mm-hmm.
And would it be and right? And it's going to be, we believe, a false flag, a simulation. It's going to be a deception, right? That's the idea.
I think so. I mean, we've said it on the podcast. I think we say it every week now lately with everything's going on. I really think they're going to use Project Bluebeam or something even more diabolical to set up food bars all. Because a lot of people less and less are believing what the news are. And but if they can use some content like that to put us all and they're already pushing between either the alien invasion or World War III and all this damn chaos. It's just it's it's scary, stressful times if you really dig into it. Well, I try only to take little doses of it. But here you go. Here's a good laugh right here. If you don't like a.
We got donuts over here if you want to thank you for your hard work.
I can bring some for my kids here.
Okay. The 25% tariffs we just brought in on Chinese steels
Yeah,
to help you out.
that's going to keep my job. Yeah. What about the 40% taxes I'm paying? And I don't have a doctor.
The $400 million you invested in the card means you're going to have a job.
I think you're only here for another year. We won't see you around probably another year.
Well, that's what elections are for.
That's right. That's right.
And I look forward to everyone exercising the right to vote.
Yep.
Basic choice. We're going to invest in you and your job.
I don't believe you for a second.
Dental care. Do you know anyone who got dental care?
Yeah, I pay for it myself.
Okay.
We're like 3 years behind.
You have a job and coverage?
Yeah,
but we
four
got
people
seniors.
in my family.
We've got
Every time we go for a dental visit, it costs me about $50 in my pocket per person.
Okay.
Why? I have a good job. You're not really doing anything for us, Jess.
Well, actually, we just invested so 500,000 people haven't been to the dentist.
Yeah.
Got to go to the dentist over the past few
Probably
months.
like my neighbor that doesn't go to work because she's lazy.
She
you know
what?
Doesn't go to work. She lives the same
Most
life I do.
Canadians try to stick up for each other. And that's what we're going to keep doing.
Yeah.
Good luck and take care of your family, sir.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right.
Have a nice day.
Have a good day, sir. Good night. The other guy's got.
That's right. Man, fuck that. Fuck him and feed him shit. Justin Trudeau, man, that dude was a straight mini tyrant during COVID. I did not forget any of the coverage on that dude. The shit show that he put Canada through. And of course, the truckers that they froze their banks, they debanked and froze those funds of that freedom convoy. Just cracked right down on those folks. So yeah, fuck that dude. And yeah, if Commie Justin allows an election, he's gone. But
I think so. They're way you hear the rumblings and stuff, but just talking to people that not just what you see on social media. I've talked to people from Canada and stuff, and they're not happy with them at all.
Well,
but I give that man much respect due to he told him exactly how he feels. He didn't say it. No, he didn't cuss him out or anything like that. It was very respectful, but he told him straight up, I don't trust you. I don't believe you.
Mm-hmm.
He basically said F off without saying F off, but he
it sounded like Trudeau went to shake his hand and he was like, I'm good. That's what it sounded like. Trudeau was gonna initiate a handshake and he told him no. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Yeah, I mean, you get a moment to speak to this guy, this creature, and imagine like if it were Biden, or Hillary Clinton, or one of these, or Pelosi, or somebody like that, some scumbag, and they're there trying to pitch you some shit, some project that they're proud of, and just get a couple minutes. You get 1 minute to tell them you're full of shit. Cameras rolling. You're a liar. Nobody trusts you, and you're about to be in another line of work.
Every time I see it, I stop and watch that video. Every time I see it, I'm scrolling through, I see it. I'll have to stop and just get a good laugh.
And before long, we're gonna have Vivek and Elon auditing these accounts, especially these successes in the stock market that these jokers crank out. They're beating out, the best trading firms. How do you do that? Well, you have inside knowledge of bills and regulations that are upcoming and this sort of thing. Man, deeply corrupt. These jokers get rich. They're all so filthy rich. They don't make no money, but they all leave millionaires. Man, stinks.
Pelosi.
Yeah, it stinks to high heaven. Hell,
I mean,
they need an app where you can invest money, and the app just makes you buy what she's doing. whatever she's doing, that's what your money's doing, because that's the fucking ticket right there.
Yeah, see, her picks are golden, man. She's just got the golden touch. That's all. Just,
Yeah.
you know, don't worry about her. No, I really wish the politicians had NASCAR jackets on, so we see exactly who all they were. You know,
That's right.
You know, I mean, you can go back and see like, you know, president who backed them. You can go back and see who, you know, what this person, you know, like
how much money
I
they
did that
paid.
with Obama and Mitt Romney, and hell, the same people were backing both of them. You know, they're the same banks, the same this and same that. You know, it's
Yeah, and some of that is how the lobby game works, I guess. The lobbies, they go out there and give these donations and this support to both sides of the aisle, so that either way something goes, they in theory they have a fucking ear. They can go and say, hey, this hurts us, or this is what we want, we need this. You know, some measure of that I'm not even, you know, up in arms about, but just, you know, to the degree that it's gone on now, especially when it comes to like, well, I don't want to get that check mark right back, but a certain lobby group that starts with an A and ends with a pack, you know, that's pretty influential. And so we watched that video. Man, what a revelation that was, that you know, this foreign actor is not required to register as such. And the last time somebody got real strong about it with them, maybe not related, but that person's no longer with us. And one of the great inside jobs, conspiracy theories of our time, one of the biggest ones ever, right? Next to 9/11 and others, but
it's top 5, guaranteed.
Right.
And after 50 years, it still hadn't been declassified. So, you know, there's something going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's pretty amazing. And I mean, they brag about how many of those their financially backed politicians won elections. Like it's just common knowledge. You can pull up on their site and see it's crazy. Michael Strange, he posted a link on Rumble, Dave, that there's a guy on Twitter that actually keeps up with her and tracks her, so you can follow her position almost in real time.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
so it's pretty up to date. I was wondering about the latency or the gap there on the information, so you can follow her actions closely in the market.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Man,
you got some money. You might be able to make you some money real quick.
Yeah, that's the ticket right there. Exactly.
I like to talk to somebody actually done it, actually followed along and actually did it, and see, you know, if they actually are like making buku money. But I bet they are, you know.
Oh, sure. And so you can always follow big investment firm. What's that one guy that everybody I always confuse him? Is it Jimmy Buffett or is it
Warren Buffett?
Warren Buffett. There you go. Jimmy. I always confuse him with Jimmy, the musician. So you follow his position. What about it? What'd you say, Rick?
That's in Margaritaville.
Margaritaville. That's right. Keep it between the navigational buoys. So, you know, you follow Warren or one of these big firms like that, and which, man, what's the name of his deal? I'm drawing a blank because it's been a while. I kind of not lost my interest, but I kind of stopped following that whole thing. There was a time when I was interested in it and was reading books on it and things like that, the markets and option trading and things like that. But you follow a guy like that, and I mean, it's safe money because they know what they're doing to a degree, and they're going to be successful. And hell, if you could follow the ripest fruit like a Pelosi, wow, you could really get rich. You just let your money ride with hers.
Well, speaking of him, he is let's see. I seen one link say he was talking about he's dropping money. This is, let me share this right here. Speaking of old Warren Buffett,
He's had some bad luck. Is that what it's telling?
I think he's trying to get out.
Oh,
he sends a $150 billion warning to. What are you doing, computer? I'm glad you're on here. This sucker might go stupid on me in a second. I always up trying to all these pictures and shit. That's what it's trying to do. That shit got too many pictures on it. I got a GigaNet and it's over here having troubles here.
So he's making a big move out of something, some particular stock or sector, is what I'm reading so far.
Yeah. I need to put a blocker on this some guy. Look at that. All this crap.
You know,
he's dumping a bunch of his shares. I seen it the other day. He was talking about he was unloading a bunch of lots of shares of this and that. So, and of course we talked about it on here. The potential, that might be a rough year for stock market and stuff like that. And there might be a half-ass little crash next year and stuff like that, which conspiracy theorists said, that's maybe the reason why they did what they did, and they put Harris in line to run against Trump because they knew Harris couldn't win, so they could blame Trump for the whole financial crisis.
Yeah, an unavoidable, and another facet of that's a concern, or at least something to be monitored, would be such an event used as a catalyst for some form of financial tyranny, whether that be simply just taking away cash, or you hear people use the term polycrisis. If there was some sort of online attack, hack, so to speak, I can't remember the term that you normally use, but just an online attack, right?
Cyber attack,
a cyber. Ostensibly that could be a reason to move to a secured bio verified system, right? In the name of security, a bunch of if enough billions of were lost, and enough people say, and it could be like, imagine if it was normal people, not just billionaires, some firm lost something, but if people's normal bank accounts took a hit, everybody was affected on a big way. Your credit card, people, you took a big loss in some major event, and then Trump or somebody says, Elon or one of these cats says, we've got this fucking crypto backed, super secure, backed up, guaranteed, blah, blah, blah. But you got to plug your driver's license into it, your facial recognition, your thumbprints, your bio data, and then combined with no cash. So, but I don't want to beat the fucking doom drum too hard until we see some of those things, but if I see any hint of it, obviously we're going to be on here screaming, hey, this ain't good.
For sure.
How long have you talked about in the people that you've discussed these things with, a one world kind of currency? I remember 20 probably years ago, at least the first kind of time, the first time it was seriously like floated, like they want a one world currency. Of course, now we think that would probably be a digital one world currency. Still something you think they could pull off?
I mean, yeah, like you said, you got some kind of super big cyber hack, which still is that scary as hell. We were just talking. I was talking about it, talking with anybody in the chat, before you came on. They're already trying to push away using. We're already kind of more digital currency as it is. If you think about it, we use our debit card all the time. We don't carry cash as much as you used to, because hell, it ain't safe to carry cash anymore. It's just that next step where they could do that. I mean, back I remember when was, let's see, I'd have to look it up. When was the euro brought into effect? I mean, when they first brought the euro out, that was
Yeah.
that was the initial. A lot of people were concerned because that was like the first test of, and like a lot of the countries lost a shit ton of money because the euro wasn't worth shit, and their currency was good, and all of a sudden they don't want to swap over to this worthless fucking currency, and so a lot of the countries lost a lot of money back. Uh,
Damn.
let's see. Let me look
It
it
was a
up
wealth
here.
redistribution tactic then as well. Because yeah, that sucks if it ain't prorated. Like, in other words, if for every dollar, of our, you should get twice as many euros, whatever the pro rate is. But yeah, that's a kind of a communist block there. That's why you had Brexit. They wanted to leave that shit. Of course, they have not allowed it. Right, is what it essentially amounts to.
It might be coming on it. It
Yeah,
started.
right.
It started in '99, so I knew it was about the time that I was.
Euro dropped in '99.
And actually started doing physical euro coins and banknotes in 2002. So yeah, that's about the time that I started digging deep. Like some of the people have heard, I know you have, but for the ones listening, I hadn't heard, like after 9/11, and once I started asking questions and stuff didn't add up, that's what took me on my deep dive of down a little rabbit hole of asking bigger questions and more questions I asked, and um, yeah, that's. And I remember there was a lot of concern when they first put the euro. It was like I said, it was a test bed. Really, the euro was a test bed to see if they could do a global. Right now we got we got BRICS trying to go away from the dollar. Of course, Trump is saying he's going to 100% tariff them if they don't use the dollar, because the value of the dollar is going to drop if they get their way where they're actually buying oil and selling oil and everything, and without using the dollar, which they have. We like I said, we've covered this before, where you got to buy goods from us to get a dollar to turn around and sell it. So they got to sell their actual physical products to us for dollars, which is nothing. Is writing on a freaking computer screen, and then turn around for they could actually do business. If they actually go through the BRICS, actually able to do what they want to do, it's inflation is going to be astronomical, absolute.
It's almost, if you think about a true free market platform that was digital in nature, where you could invest in or own currency of any of whatever country had a really strong dominant currency, right? So, or if there was a financial instrument that was comprised of an aggregate average of these top performing countries' currencies, and that was what you traded in on a digital level, right? So because you think about it, and obviously we have a bias or we have an agenda to want the dollar to do well because it's our fucking country's currency, but that kind of a protection, like an oil-based protection, like imagine being every other country. That's why there is a BRICS. They're like, fuck this shit. You guys are riding high on the hog, playing these games. We always talk shit about China and how they manipulate their currency and devalue it. But what does the Federal Reserve do? Manipulating interest rates, pumping extra money in, taking it out, quantitative easing and tightening, and all these little schemes. And now it ain't even working. They'll raise the points and it's not taming inflation. That's because there's too much fucking money out there. But and the debt is too high. And the debt is sky high. So there's a change coming. What sucks is that that some group in it, whether it's Trump and Musk or whoever it is, that kind of leads the transition into the next realm of finance or of money, and that is frankly going to be fucking cashless. That shit's probably the last straw of control.
Oh, for
So,
sure. And that's been their
one to
goal. It
watch.
seemed like their goal. Um, James said in the chat, you're talking about it's more, cash is still common in small areas. Oh, for sure. Like I know down here we can spend cash anywhere. It was a couple places, when COVID hit, there was a few places that kind of shunned away just because of whatever. We won't get into that down that rabbit hole, but yeah, down here is still, that a lot of it's cash is king down here. How most of my business, what I do is cash. Um,
Yeah, and it's like you said.
yeah, yeah, my cash is vanishing too on my exchange.
But
yeah, I don't know, it's scary to think about. That if they, normally we can, if it's just like one country, we'll go over there and give them a little democracy, and all of a sudden they have a uprising in their regime change. It's amazing when it happens, after, they say they want to go away from the dollar, and then all of a sudden there's a regime change. And it's amazing how that works. But now that we get the BRICS nations together, that's a big thing to bite on. I mean, we could, if we wanted to, as a country, and we wanted to go through that kind of bloodshed and turmoil. I mean, technically we could fight and probably win because the power of our military and the spending we have, and hell, and just the people we have here, in the country. There's, what is it? For every man and woman in the country, everybody is like 10 guns per person. If people wanted to
yes,
invade, it would
really
be,
big.
there'd be a lot of people, civilians helping, keep the threat away. It was, we could hold our own, but that'd be a lot of lost life, or, which maybe that's one, maybe that's the, go down another and conspiracy rabbit hole. Maybe that's what the Georgia Guidestones is about. Maybe that's what they want, that population down. They want it down to the point of, um, 500 million across the whole world. That way it's better, you know. And that's why they
You
destroyed
know, enough
Guidestone.
of them say it often enough. Billy the Kid will say it, right? And others will say it. They'll say it in these real non-tangible ways, real abstract data that'll be like, well, here's the percentage of this, and here's the number of humans. Here's the 6, 7, 8 billion people. So they'll talk about it, but it's fucking human beings they're talking about, and it's just like, abstractly this number needs to come down. Frankly, it has to, and you're like, what the fuck, dude? So obviously that one video that we dare not even play, even though it's him fucking saying it, even though it's him saying it. Yeah, that's it's the fact that that's one that gets you. It lets you know you're over the target. So a depopulation event or agenda, and that's what eugenics is. And it's not new. If you go back, like Planned Parenthood is one of the earliest American eugenics programs, right? And of course, what's her name? She's famous for writing a letter saying like it was a target over black people. We're going to put them in all the cities, and it should affect, black people the worst. And that was the point. That was the goal. And so, of course, now the liberals, the Democrats can't fucking give enough money to Planned Parenthood. So add that up, add those two things together. But the point is, eugenics is this concept of, and it's real icky and like fucking Frankenstein, like horror story, because it included things like forced sterilization based on intelligence and malformation and things like that. It included things like in your food, drink, water, medicine, right? And so these ideas are not brand new. We always harp on that one guy that said that bad thing, but you go back, there's three brothers. So the book Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, well, his brother and father, his brother was a UNESCO president. His father was I believe, a scientist and a eugenicist. He studied like how can we, just like the Guidestone said, how can we guide human reproduction wisely? That was like his mission statement. You know, this guy lived in the 30s or whatever. Like he's been gone for, you know, this is 100 years ago. But there's an obsession among these elites to control people, to control even reproduction. And at the very top, seems like they want to control the ultimate number of people who are allowed to live on the planet.
And it's wild. It's like they're the ones that want to do all this stuff, and a lot of them, those are the, you know, most effed up looking. The genetics were the genetic tree that kind of hit them inside the head. You know, when they, you know, and like who are you to tell us that we need, you know, we need more people like you? Like, man, come on, it's just a.
You think of Rogan telling Rampage like, this dude looks like shit. He's got a pot belly. You're telling me you're giving me fucking health advice, dude? Shut up. Stay in your lane, dude. Computer nerd. Like you're not even in shape. You look terrible. Yeah. So that's great.
They're the ones that most vocal. You know, they're the ones that, you know. I had it happen years ago. I'll tell the story. Sometimes we used to have a thing called at work. It's called a Health Check 360, whatever, and we go through there and they check all our shit and everything, and it was a good thing. I got a full like eval every year, so I make sure all my blood levels were good, all the crap was good, and mine was always in like the top 5% of the whole company. But um, they called me one day, and they were sitting there when I was still in my 20s, and I was training like crazy. I guess about as much as I am now, but and they turned around, which I was riding my bike more, but they turned around and called me and said, well, you need to turn around and you need to we need to do something about your BMI. Your BMI is too high. And I'm like, and I was like, and I'm, you know, in my head, I'm like, I wonder what this person looks like that's telling me this shit. I bet they're freaking 280 pounds and 4'6", you know, and they're, you know, block wall looking at me and tell me this crap. And I'm like, look, you know, I was like, my weight, I feel good. I was like, I ride my mountain bike. I ride my bike over 50 to 150 miles a week. I said, I train MMA and jujitsu 3 hours a day, 4 to 5 days a week. I said, how much more do you want me to do? And they just start stuttering. And then I say, look, I feel good at this weight. I say, I feel strong. I said, I dropped down like 10 pounds. I felt weak. I got pushed around. When I feel at the weight I'm at right now, I feel good. I was like, I'm not losing any weight. I'm not doing it. It's like, oh no, you're good. You're good. You're good. And I think they left a little note in my thing because they never messed with me again after that. But I was like, it's crazy. Davey, you're muted.
My bad. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
That's the funny thing. If you bring a person in there that really, really needs to only focus on losing weight, right? Like it's like that's their main problem. Maybe they're comorbid because of other issues that are stemming from that, even other things. But that'd be the last person they fucking say you just need to lose weight, right? But for a person that like is just a man, I remember a doctor saying that to me too. And this is at a time when I had like a flat stomach, you know, big arms, big chest. I was playing football. I think I was a senior in high school, maybe 18 years old. And I think I was like 220, 6'2", 220. And this guy's like, you're clinically obese. And I was like, get fucked, man. You're whatever, dude. What do you shove that clipboard up your whole ass, man? You know what I mean? Like, just that's crazy. So the BMI has long been this retarded thing that they use that you see and you're like, dude, no. They want you to be freaky skinny, unhealthy skinny. to make to match up their chart. Like it would take so no thanks, but
yeah, I had to lose 20 pounds. Me lose 20 pounds to get where I'm supposed to be BMI wise or whatever. I'm like, where am I going to lose 20 damn pounds? If I do, I'm losing muscle. And, you know,
right,
and
I'm going to shave my goatee.
You know, that's what they want. They want weak, fragile people who they can push around if something, the shit hits the fan, and a bunch of weak ass people they can just shove around. But I'm good.
Well, now,
I'm happy where I'm at.
You see the headlines on some of the magazines now where they'll get, they'll put Lizzo up there and say, this is health. This is the epitome of health. And you're like, well, perhaps our ideals of beauty or health have been askew. But gosh dang it, let's not rush to the other side of the pool here and just make the same mistake in the other ditch across the street. Let's keep it in the road. So I watched that landscape, the fitness landscape, the beauty or fashion landscape or whatever, and it's kind of, you've seen Jaguar's new thing, and it's like they got I don't even know what it is. It's this weird postmodern thing. They got like maybe a transvestite or two, or trans person. I don't know that some trans people up there maybe, and you're kind of like, man, what's the deal? What's the agenda? People are tiring of it. People are souring on it. I think. I really feel like that shit had its day, and people are like, next, but sure. Jaguar again, they did some weird stuff, and you see other companies still kind of clinging to it, but I don't know.
Yeah, Mike Strange said, you think it's based on the WHO stuff, the World Health, and using like Chinese body types, which, okay, yeah, their frame and structure is smaller, so I mean, you're
interesting point right there.
Some people, I know people that I guarantee you they couldn't be the weight if they wanted to if they didn't have nothing on them. If their skeleton probably weighed as much as they want the damn weight to be.
Right.
Yeah, Mike said, if you're not a starving social credit communist, then you're too fat. That's
hey, you can stand to lose a couple of pounds, comrade. I will deduct from your rations here. I'll take your weekly rations. Thank you, comrade, for your service.
Yeah, it's like that. There's an old picture. Is a picture of government sitting on one side of a river, and the other side is showing you fishing, and he's throwing his rod over into your bucket and pulling your fish out of your bucket while you're fishing.
Right. Right. Yeah, surely you've seen the one with the dog when it's my dog when it's when he's got food, or when it's my turn to eat. He's a socialist when I got some food. He's don't tread on me when he's got something. He's all libertarian. Then but I'll tell you what. The great irony is nothing like hunger to make a motherfucker want to redistribute some shit. You know what I mean? Like if you truly have nothing, you probably are like, man, I need something. It brings out another side in you, and even a desperate side. Like that's what's scary about some kind of a big power outage or something, or a food shortage. Hungry people get desperate, man. A friend and I were talking about a plane, I believe it was, that went down in a rural snowy landscape, freezing temperatures, and just normal folks on some kind of trip. I mean, or just on a flight. But by the time the rescues groups got to them, they'd been eating motherfuckers. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, oh, they'd been there too long, and people had died. The survivors had been eating people. Like, fuck, man, just the savagery. But just imagine like what you'll do to survive. It'll bring out the beast dog in you, and that's the kind of person that you may be dealing with. If there's a societal collapse, it'll be a hungry, desperate person. They'll be everywhere.
Oh yeah, That's why I'm getting back out in the country. I'm gonna get out of the city and I mean, you know, I'm in a little town, but I'm gonna get on back out in the woods where it's gonna take a little while to find me out there at least.
That's the safest place, brother, is out there amongst the trees, bro. So wasn't there like a war game scenario or some sort of analytical process where they said that if they just turn the power off, some absurd amount of people, 90%, 95% of the population would be dead within 90 days with no assistance, with just turn the power off and sit back and wait. Don't do anything. That's how many people, like like nine out of 10 motherfuckers be dead in 3 months. Some sort of
it's sad
scenario.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me because most people don't have, like, you know, a lot of people, you know, some just don't have the money to, but some people don't have the, you know, the food that they just buy what they're going to eat that week, you know, whatever. They just buy a week at a time, and they don't spend a lot of money on grocery. What I mean, they spend a lot of money because it's fucking higher in sin, but they don't have a lot of stockpiles of anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, hell, my mom, she gave me a bunch of, I forget which brand it was, but you know, some of the 25-year. She gave me a tote that had a bunch of that in there. Like, here, you can fill the rest of it up. And I'm like, I got some put in it. So I mean, I got something. If push come to shove, shit goes sideways hard enough, I'll have something to eat for a little while, especially with me. But yeah, a lot of people don't. You know, a lot of people don't. You know, it's amazing, and we don't the concept of so many people. I know a guy, and you ask him, like, you ask somebody, like, where does, you know, such and such come from? He's like, the grocery store. Well, where does it come from there? He's like, no, it comes from the grocery store, like hamburger meat and eggs and stuff, and, like, you know, no concept, like, hey, it's like, even like, it come from a cow, you know, it don't even, because I remember he was like, I don't eat deer, and the way he
We
actually
don't
ate
eat farmers when we have grocery stores, comrade.
yeah.
Fucking that's their attitude.
I mean, and you see that all the time. I've seen videos of, you know, people pasting on, you know, Twitter and all that kind of YouTube and stuff where they talk to people and like that. But I've met people personally like that and actually truly said that. You know, they're like, they really don't have no idea where the food comes from. They just know it's at the grocery store, so they can go to the grocery store and get it. And if, you know, if it's that in the grocery store, they're pretty well food bar. And speaking of grocery stores, a nice little segue here to this little video. Almost like I actually planned that, but I promised to God it would. Check this crazy stuff out. I haven't seen this at any of our stores, but
Okay, so these are the new little price screens. So the whole goal of these is to adjust the prices on the items as they become more in demand. So for example, right now these are 90 cents. Let's say around 6 o'clock or during the busier time, these will go up to $1. They'll fluctuate based off of demand. So these are connected to the Wi-Fi and to the registers. Once the inventory on these items become low, the prices will start to shoot up to $1.20. They're gonna start incorporating all these all over. Yeah, so it's pretty crazy. I'll come back later on in the day, and you'll see this go up and down in price. You'll see it go as low as like 89 cents, which is pretty crazy. Okay.
yeah, I haven't. I was going to ask in the chat to see if they've seen anything like that. I haven't seen the digital pricing yet, but it don't surprise me none. You know, you get to the store and before you can get to the damn register, how the price might change on you. That'd be
So they've set it up to behave just like a bond behaves in the stock market, or any instrument really. But the more in demand that instrument itself is, the higher the price climbs, which is interesting. So it seems like a very petty and greedy thing to do. Not to parrot Joe Biden and say it's the corporate greed and that's the cause of inflation. So, there's an element of that, sure, but two can play that game. So there's such a thing as arbitrage, so when you see patterns, you buy low, you sell high, right? But if I know that the best time to shop for groceries is in the morning because somebody has charted the new digital pricing algorithm, which is something, that'll become a thing. If this becomes widespread, then motherfuckers will sit there and catalog it. And you'll see when it's 9 a.m. is when you buy your cream of mushroom, evidently, right after the truck comes on Wednesdays and Saturdays or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you take a step back from it, it's a very Orwellian thing. It's a very Orwellian thing to think that you could pick something up and pay a price for it, and then an hour later it's something different. That seems wrong, right? It seems creepy and technocratic.
I mean, it's similar, like Walmart right now. You can go to just in our area, in the tri-state area we're in. You can go to like different Walmarts and go look up the same thing, and go look, and the price is going to be different. This matters what area you're in. If you go to Germantown, or Carville, where it's for the listeners, that's upscale,
right.
And where the rich people live around here. So, if you go over there, of course, and the prices are higher. And then if you turn around and ride down to the South Memphis, where it's not expensive at all, the prices are a lot lower. I mean, it's there's a significant change. Going to the same stores, not even going different stores, going to the same store. You can see the prices. So I can see it, and just more and more. Plus, it's just more and more where they're taking people out of it. That way, normally you have like two, three people. Usually, I've always seen it's just 2 or 3 ladies walking around and changing tags and stuff like that. So how that just take the whole
right.
That take 3 people out of a store. You don't even have to hire them no more. You just all you do is type in a computer, change your price.
And that's the goal too. Musk has talked about it when Amazon's replacing workers over the course of the years. They've been doing it, but they're still doing it, replacing with robots, automation. And Musk has basically said the time is coming, it's inevitable, when it will be the most efficient and all your big factory jobs are going to go away to automation. And a lot of service jobs, actually the capabilities are pretty profound that these robots can do. So we've just started scratching the surface. So they're going to eliminate a lot of fucking jobs with that.
I mean, construction.
So of course, that's why he's talking about. Let me mute this daggum thing. That's why he's talking about a universal basic income. Musk said like it's going to be necessary. You're going to have to give people a couple thousand a month just so they can get groceries, because a lot of people are not going to be able to live, to have jobs. So at least he plans on those people being around. Other people would say, well, yeah, those people, we need to get rid of them. They have to go, since they can't have jobs. So, but interesting. It is indeed a brave new world that we're up against. For the people that haven't read it, and tying eugenics in with a planned, controlled future, like everybody was bred for a particular task or purpose or industry, almost like the other dystopian movies you may be familiar with, Divergent, things like that, Maze Runner, kind of bugging here, things like that, and that's kind of a conditioning. They're kind of getting you ready for this weird post-collapse socialist or communist reframing of order, what it would be like under such a type of government. But
it's coming. There's I mean, even in like construction jobs and stuff like that, they got computer control. They already got the GPS controls on the like dozers and stuff like that. Now they got a computer
Yep.
completely joystick control. You don't even have to be in the thing no more. And only that's just one more step. Then you turn around and you map it out just like you got a, you know, one of them, uh, laser droids or whatever, and cut stuff out. Hell, you just map out on the ground and go, okay, here you do around this. Like tractors, they don't, they do it all. You just sit back in there and watch it. As it is now. In case something happens, they got somebody in there. But other than that, hell, computers are already right there. It ain't, within another 10 years, really. Is as fast as everything, as fast as AI is learning and growing. Like Mike Strange says, the AI is, let me see exactly the words there. AI is coming for the mad amount of jobs. Yeah, I mean, because there's no health insurance if you use AI, use a computer. There's no, downtime because other than mechanical downtime, but they're not sick leave. There's whatever leave, vacations. You can just run them all the time, and only needs a few people. It's I just wonder on that, like the more and more that we're leaning towards I mean, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's more cost effective to use the robots. There's no doubt. Once you pay for it, you know you got so much ROI of return of investment that until it's paid for, and then after that it's just profit. Um, it's sure for sure, but taking the people out of it, it's what are people going to do? I mean, we got 7 billion people, or what are trillion people, or where the hell it is, and what? Let me look that up. I'm curious on that. How many people?
I think we're at 8 billion, and we're either in the high 7 billion or we're at 8, trajecting toward 9 billion pretty soon. I think we're on track for 9 billion in the next 20 years or something.
Let's see.
What do you see? What you come up with on the search, though? I'm curious. What is exactly the number?
8.192.
We are at 8.19. So we're okay. Yeah. And when does it say we'll hit 9? In about 15 years?
2050, it should be 9.7 billion people. By
damn, so it's quicker. Oh, fuck, yeah. So 9.7. It's going to be almost. So in 25 years, it's going to be almost 10 billion people. And we don't have jobs for, it really raises some really interesting societal questions. Honestly, the cynic in me says none of it's irrelevant. We won't make it 25 fucking years to see what it's like life under the robot empire, the 4th industrial revolution. Because of all these other concerns, nuclear war, etc., being uploaded into an AI prisoner's hellscape, some kind of a dystopian future where you are part of the matrix, literally. I mean, so who knows? Musk was talking about that as well. He's such an interesting guy, man. I still vacillate on the guy. Is he the bad guy? Is the ultimate Vaughn villain? I mean, we really are living in like a movie. Like everything is so out of this world and bizarre. But he was talking about the feasibility of uploading one's consciousness to a mainframe, to a hardware server, and of course he pointed out the obvious. He said life would obviously be different when you're disembodied, but could you be uploaded and exist and be conscious inside of it? And he said, I think that's within the realm of possibility within our days, our generation.
And put inside a robot. I mean, that'd be
fuck, dude. Well, yeah. So there's a movie or a series called Altered Carbon. I think it's on Netflix, maybe. Altered Carbon is about like this caste system society where there's poor people and there's rich people, and the rich people have back up psyche. So basically their whole soul and being is backed up in external safeguarded insurance places. They've got a body that they call a sleeve, but if they damage it, they can be re-sleeved in another body. So they're immortal. They are immortal because they are rich and they can afford sleeves, which is nothing more than a human meat sack and skeleton that they can have a stack put in. It looks like a single vertebrae. And you know what I mean? So, but you look at shows like that and others, and you're like, man, you know, are y'all predictive programming us to get ready for this next wave of technology that is literally going to sync bio and technical, you know, together? So have they figured that out? You got Neuralink, you got other technologies that are, you know, bridging that chasm. So on the one hand, it's cavalier and it's exciting. They're pioneering some of these things, but it's also terrifying and possibly, you know, evil itself incarnate. Like it could be demonic, you know, it could be very, very bad. What do you think about that? The idea of uploading your fucking soul to a computer.
I mean, the Neuralink and stuff, I think it's a double-sided coin to me. Like one sided, like, you know, if you got people that can't walk or you know, have ailments where they can't move or something like that, or quadriplegics and stuff like that, and you're able to actually, you know, turn around and use Neuralink to be able to where they can actually speak or they can actually move around and stuff. I mean, that's awesome. But you know, you know, having something that's great on one side, there's always evil motherfuckers out there that's going to take it and turn it into something very evil and something, you know. Then you just start weaponize it and start putting crap in your head as you know, you go to sleep and all of a sudden shit start downloading in your brain. Like, where the fuck that come from? And having my soul put up into the
there.
Oh no, that's
okay, no, fuck that shit.
I don't know. I mean,
we're good on that.
The thought process on it of, you know, and I guess that's all what you believe. Like, now, if you believe in like reincarnation and stuff like that, and you're going to come back another time anyway, and if you're able to, they're able to take your essence and put it like on a mainframe. Are you able to continue to do that circle or not? Would that stop it? Or, I mean, there's so many variables of what if is astronomical. It's just thinking about it. Like Strange asked, did you hear about the United Healthcare CEO getting murked on the sidewalk?
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
Well, look, I'm gonna read a friend of mine's. I'm gonna read what he posted on this. Here it is, right here. And I'm not endorsing this statement. He says this, just throwing this out there. If you enrich yourself by effectively killing people by denying them medical coverage, don't be surprised when someone walks up behind you and puts a bullet in the back of your head. So, you know, to me, when I read that, you know, I'm thinking, you know, it sounds like a liberal kind of very detached, anti-human. I don't mean anti-human, but I mean very unempathetic. It's not very tender that this guy just got killed. So, you know, this CEO is to blame for somebody not having health coverage. Maybe their mother died in a terrible way because of some complication in the insurance game or whatever. But that's going to be your liberal take, is that this guy's a part of a monstrous capitalist, heartless machine, and he got his due, you know, what he was owed there. My take is I've just been seeing the headlines, and enough people think that it was obviously an assassination to be worthy of being a trending topic and worthy of investigation. So I have no conclusion presently, other than just I saw what my friend said, and when he said it, I kind of thought to myself like, yeah, I could see where somebody fucking got their fucking world destroyed and got ground up in the gears of a fucking tough system where not everybody does have coverage. And I'm not saying that everybody should just be given coverage. I don't know. I don't, you know, I if a man don't work, a man don't eat. You gotta, you know, you gotta earn your way. You don't, it doesn't get given to you. Would it be cool to live in a world where those needs were met by a state system that had so much abundance in their coffers through moderate taxation and conservative, wise spending, fiscal responsibility, that there was enough left over to care even above and beyond? That'd be great. That sounds like utopia, though. It sounds like a place that does not exist, which is the literal definition of utopia. It means no place. It don't fucking exist. So, you know, I see it and I say, damn, I hate that dude got shot like that. And, you know, I don't believe that even though the system is fucked and unfair in a lot of ways, that the answer is to start offing motherfuckers that sit at the top desk. I don't really condone that sort of anarchy, but what are your thoughts, Ricky? Tell me more about it that I don't know. I don't really know any details. What motivations or other details do we have on this?
I mean, you could. I mean, there's many facets you could look into it, of course, and different angles and stuff. But I mean, I don't know. You're hearing so many, you know, kind of, you know, either they're leaving the country, they're stepping down. There's a lot of powerful people at top of these companies are either
Okay.
disappearing. You got, um, well, one of the Rothschilds has died in a house fire.
I saw that. Yeah.
You know, you got, you know, what's going on there. Like you got, you know, and who's, you know, when you want elite, there's elite of the elite. You know, get one of the Rothschilds. So, you know, you've seen more and more of them disappear. Like I don't know, like there's, which we've talked about it on the podcast before. You know, it's like I'm 2025 is going to be an interesting year. I think they're going to push. There's going to be some stuff come out. I'm hoping it's a great year. I got big goals and dreams, and but there's a lot of looks like there's a lot of stuff about to that just showing up about to hit the fan. You know, if you're looking at a critical thinking mindset of there's some massive something coming down there. Like there's just what was the Goodfellas. You know the movie The Goodfellas?
Yeah, I love that movie.
Yeah, that's a classic movie. But what happened like after the job was done and then all the little the tangibles, they went around there and took them all of them out. They're taking somebody might have said something wrong. I mean, it could be on that side. It could be for sure. It could be somebody's mom, didn't get what they needed. United Healthcare didn't pay for somebody's treatment or something like that, and their parent passed away.
Yeah.
And it's that's why I got my Punisher thing on right there. And to me, like it reminds this logo reminds me, like that's only going to take one bad thing. Sometimes that's only going to take, you don't know what somebody's going through, and it takes one bad thing, to make that snap, and then they're going to turn bad, start just wrecking people, and just no fucks given no more. They won't care, like I've lost my mom, I lost my dad to this crap right here. Y'all done this stuff to me, and then something inside their brain twists and like, and then they let's burn it down, and they want to go around there and do stuff like that. That's
you ever heard of
it was professional. It kind of.
You think it was like top notch hitman ship?
It
was a fucking
if they did it, they made it look like it wasn't a professional, because the gun jammed. He had some semisonic ammo in the gun with that silencer. It was didn't have like enough back pressure, so he could actually make it, the gun.
Oh, okay.
If you watch the
Push it,
video,
right.
I'll send you the video. I'll send you your own video on Twitter so you can see. Like, so I ain't gonna post on here because I know YouTube's gonna flag the dog crap out of me for. Hell, I posted JFK's thing and they took my video down with JFK getting his head blown off. So, which that was graphic. It was, but sure. Yeah, I got, like I said, I would show the video. If I was just on Rumble, I'd show the video because they would let me do whatever. But I'm on YouTube and Facebook. They might get a little, frown at me.
Right.
But you can, y'all look up. If you all want, y'all, let's see. That's not mine. There we go. You can add me on Twitter, and you can add me on Twitter, and I'll sure send you the link. Be no problem. Me and Dave and Jamie are all on Twitter. Come check us out for sure. Let's see, what else I got? Oh. I'll leave that up for a little bit. Yeah, the Punisher, James, you're right. The Punisher is the one, like, because he does not care. Once today was his family was taken from him, that was it. And it, like I said, I don't know. I personally, I don't like skulls and stuff like that. I got Punisher skull, little logo thing in the background over here and everything else. But like I said, it just reminded me that, that's all going to take, just one bad day, and something happens and, people can go sideways quick, and it gives me thankfulness that something like that hadn't happened to me, and thankful that, no terrible things like that's happened to cause me to get evil.
I mean, honestly, and it is misguided, but if you're the person suffering that great loss, like, and you see, and let's say it's one of those stories that's just like, a terrible story where there was an injustice and this person and this family really got screwed and they died. If that's the case, if this narrative is true, then you see it and you're like, damn, you're like a fucking a Joker character or one of these characters that's like has a genuine grievance, right? But the misguidance is that, it then makes it okay to do this thing, to make this wave and to make this, stand and for this cause. But fuck, it's an extreme thing to do. I was going to ask you if you'd heard of horseshoe theory. I guess the idea basically is like the extreme left and the extreme right are so far apart, but they're not actually on a line. It's actually the center is here. And then the farther extreme you get left and right, actually it horseshoes. And it actually, these ideas down here are actually closer than maybe. And so the theory would go like, as an extreme patriot, you say like this government is taxing us into oblivion. The tyranny is absolutely suffocating. The bureaucracy, the double legal standard, it's crushing. Therefore, it's time to take a fucking stand. And then you start getting radical and doing some shit to shake the system up or challenge the system or destroy the system, right? And it's you would see it and you'd say, damn, this is like a doppelganger of an Antifa, not a fucking wimpy type of Antifa. I just mean like a classical radical left-wing anarchist, Rage Against the Machine type motherfucker from the 90s or something like that. Mm-hmm. And you'd say this, this Proud Boy or whatever, this right-wing agitator and this guy actually have a little more in common than they even think, because they're both grieving a fucked up ass system that's corrupt to the core. And on the one hand, conservatives, we want to conserve, protect, uphold, and carry on these precious traditions. And we're proud of our country, and the founding and warts and all across the board. We don't hate our country like a fucking commie. But there's this whole other truth that is the banking system, the motherfucking lobby system, the money laundering and the corruption, the decadence, the blanket of countless legislation that's just this fucking cloak of tyranny across the land, right? And you look at that and you get a little bit anarchist and you say that shit needs to fucking go. It needs to burn. We need to hit reset to 1776 and start the fuck over with just those documents, and we need to fucking wipe the board. And you say, damn, I sound a little radical liberal, kind of almost, in a Twilight Zone kind of way. But anyway, that's horseshoe theory, Ricky, if you hadn't heard of that.
No, I hadn't heard it. Hiker Emoji, she said that her horseshoe theory these days is almost complete circle. But yeah, you hear it more and more. And I've heard I hadn't heard it called that, but on both sides, really, there's so much. They have so much in common, but because of certain hot topics and that the media, pushes to make sure that people are divided, then that's the reason that they actually, if you get along, like you see videos where like left liberals and stuff, and there's wide variety. That line is way wide now, really. But you go over there and they actually, when they're of good mind, and when you actually would go over to to some of the more the right side some, and they start talking and actually having communication, they actually get along great. But when you got one group screaming at one side, and when you got extremists on both sides, like you said, if you got one side screaming at one side, the other side screaming on the other, you didn't get shit done then. But when you actually have people come together and talk, they're like, wait a minute, we actually a lot of stuff, hey, this detail here we don't agree on, but yeah, we can agree or disagree, and this detail we don't agree. But for the most part, we can come together. But the media, who's controlled by to the elites and all all the big companies and stuff, they don't want that. They want us to actually be able to come together and talk and have a conversation. They want us to yell. They want us to kill each other. It'll be just one less mouth they got to feed if we kill each other, or we can then turn around and we put you in prison, in these privately owned prisons that, they're making $50,000 a person off of every day. That's the lobbyists for them prisons are big boy. If you look into them, how much, some of the stuff they try to push or they keep out, or to keep out for make things better for like just trying to legalize marijuana everywhere. They were pushing back on that big time because it was easy to put people in for it.
It's just like Kamala Harris.
You get somebody poor that can't afford a lawyer, and then, you can't afford a lawyer? Well, we'll give you this guy here that don't really give a shit, and he's going to sign you a deal, and you sign this little piece of paper, and we're going to put you away for 5. Or if you don't, we're going to tell you we're going to put you away for 10. When you have a good lawyer and they turn around and say, well, we're going to put you in prison for 7 years, and you turn around and give them a finger, and then you get probation because you actually had a lawyer. That's the difference, the very difference. And but a lot of people don't have the money to spend $2,500, $5,000 for a lawyer, because that's what it's going to take to keep you over some silly petty shit.
Unfortunately, the system's fucked up. This is something that I always tell people, like, there's a great need for police reform, but the argument doesn't need to be made by BLM, Antifa, and the radical left. Okay. There are issues of like Fourth Amendment violations and maybe a case of extreme mission creep by a lot of units and forces. And there was a militarization of domestic police forces under Ronald Reagan. Task forces were created, and now you got tanks rolling through the street, essentially SWAT teams and different things. And on the one hand, you can argue like there's a need for that because of the amount of guns and gangs in the country, and there's so that but not get caught in that particular rabbit hole. I was saying that there is a need for police reform. There's a need for prison reform, but again, it doesn't need to be the arguments in the Reformation cannot be on the demands of extreme left wing policy like New York, California, where they're just like no bail, no bond, let them go, fucking community corrections across the board. Where there's got to be again a moderate and common sense. Stay on the fucking highway, please. Don't go from one ditch to the other. On the one hand, you've got an extremely corrupt, incentivized, unjust system where it would, in fact, incentivize through corporate profit to to keep a person incarcerated. For example, you said weed. Kamala Harris withheld exculpatory evidence of a black man to keep his ass in prison when she was DA in California. As she was sucking her way to the top, that bitch was arresting parents when their kids skipped school. And that's the type of fucking commie bullshit, right? That'll make somebody go pop a CEO. That type of shit when you're fucking with people's lives. So that shit goes both ways. Horseshoe theory. Motherfucker mad about a corporate profit not paying for your mama's surgery. Motherfucker's mad over here because they got put in jail and lost their job because some tyrant got in their fucking personal family business. Some government official with bureaucratic power exercised that authority and influenced your life in a negative way, and you think that won't make somebody radical. My grocery bill radicalized me, to tell you the truth. But those conversations need to be had by people who are conservative and say, let's do a better job at policing, but that means more training, not less. When they were protesting that event in Georgia, it was like an officer training facility was opening, and these Antifa went over there and these other agitators, and they caused a stir because they were opening a training center. Well, that one guy, Kyrie Nickel, I think his name was. I hope I'm saying his name right. Rest in peace. He died at the hands of those Memphis officers that stomped his ass out. Right. Of course, it was them black dudes. And so they couldn't play the race card, except for when they indicted those black dudes for doing that shit. They were like, if it was white folks, they would have never done it so quick. And of course, you were talking about how they divide us. They use the fucking race card to divide us, and that we fall for every time. But the point is that those motherfuckers were untrained, unvetted, and it may have been a personal beef. Who knows what rumors are true or not? I don't even really want to speak on it more than I have. But the point is that training these officers better and having a more well-defined mission statement would help protect people's civil liberties and also prevent mistakes by these officers who are doing one of the most stressful jobs on the fucking planet. So I try to look at it from both angles and find moderate solutions. That's the way forward, I think, is finding moderate, common sense solutions to these issues. That's my 2 cents on that.
I agree. I mean, they'd only give them, a lot of times, have, police officer friends and stuff like that. And a lot of times, they'll give them a 2-week crash course. Okay, here's your, your combatives or whatever, and that's it, and really don't try to reaffirm how to do things and stuff like that. And they don't give them the training they need because they don't want to spend the budget to do it. They're already, to cut the budget wherever they can on anything else, but then they just over grossly spend money everywhere else, like all them EV stations they put across the country. They spent $258 million on it, and they put 8 in. And 2 don't even work right now, and Elon could have sold them some for $50,000 a piece if they wanted, I mean, they could have went all the way across the nation. It's just completely terrible, overseeing and spending. It's like I was seeing, they were talking about it was in San Francisco. Yeah, it was in San Francisco. They were going to put an outdoor toilet in San Francisco right there, I guess near a park or something like that. And they were going to tell me it's going to cost $2.7 million to put one toilet. One. Well, this company came up and said, well, look, that's that's outrageous. Look, we as a company, we want to take back for the community. We will supply all the supplies for this. We will install it. We will put the labor. We will pay for the labor and the toilet and everything. We will do it all. And like, no, we still can't do it. It will still cost 2.3 trillion. You're like, do what? There's nothing in there's no, it was all the all the red tape, all the permits, all the people that had to get paid, all of the BS and crap all the way down the line was going to be $2.3 million to put in a effing toilet. It's just, I wish I remember which video I was on. If I can find it, I'll send you that video they're talking about. It was, I know I can't find it now. I'd be too slow on it. But yeah, it's some wild stuff. I agree. My mind is always like, I like yin yangs and stuff like that. I like the balance. I mean, like you said, you don't want to drive out of one ditch and drive into another ditch. You gotta be some kind of balance there. You know, we do need to take care of people. They get older and stuff. They don't need to be eating cat food because they can't afford food. They need to be able to take care of the older generation. I swear on everything. That's what, when, you know, I looked at my check and I see Social Security out of my check every week. And, you know, I had somebody ask me one day, don't you get mad about that? I said, really? That's the only one I really don't get mad about that, because in my mind, I'm taking care of my grandparents. You know, they're getting that Social Security, so that money goes to them. So they're getting their check. And now my parents are that age, so now, you know, Social Security goes to them, you know. But, you know, I don't want to backtrack, you know, to think about all the misuse of it, you know, and all the people on it. And I don't think about that. You just think, I just try to think positive. Yeah. I just think positive, you know, but there's balance on that. But then you don't need to be taking care of every swinging dick in the world that just, you know, rolls up them here. And like I said, you got, you know, and then you got all of the ones that they shipped all over the country and put over there in hotels and all that crazy stuff and spend millions of dollars. Let me find that. They actually rented a whole hotel. They rented a whole hotel in New York that was owned by, it wasn't owned by Iran. What country was it owned? Let me see if I can find it. It was owned by another country, and actually they turned around, was spending so much money and to that country. So basically, we were spending money and giving it to a whole nother country for them to.
Bro, as long as you're not as long as you're not a hurricane victim or an American, you can get some money from the American government.
We were seeing all
as simple as that. Everybody's getting money but America.
Yeah.
Everybody but us. And it's our money. Man, when you break it down, Jesus, when you break it down to a government's not supposed to operate at a profit, much less an extreme debt loss, but they operate like on monopoly money, 30+ trillion in debt. Absurd, ungodly. And it's all modern monetary theory. That's the fucking culprit of this whole thing. And it's a communist fucking economic system where they're like, spend more, loan more. Debt is money. Debt equals wealth. It's retarded. It's unsustainable. It's why we're where we're at. Honestly, I feel like any sober, honest analyst will tell you, like, yeah, the collapse is inevitable. They have to collapse this system and let the dust settle and then pivot to a new, and they'll recreate on the other side of it. So, like, I think that, like, okay, what does the Bible say? Babylon has fallen in 1 hour. The merchants are weeping for their great losses. I mean, it almost makes you think of a biblical worldwide economic collapse that just resets everything. You're talking about death and disease, chaos. I said I wasn't going to beat the doom drum. I apologize.
We'll get into some happy stuff in just a second.
All right.
Yeah, here's that. They had a lease agreement to the Pakistani government owns.
Pakis. Okay.
Yeah.
They're not the worst, I guess. Yeah, sure.
But we're actually paying the Pakistani government out of our tax dollars to house all these illegal immigrants. I mean,
That's fucking crazy, bro.
if you want to be, even if you're okay with, wherever side of the boat that you're on, if it's okay for them to be here, if they're putting into society and putting back, that's cool. But we still shouldn't be spending $220 million for to the government of Pakistan for them because they own the Roosevelt
Man.
Hotel.
That's right.
Money, if that ain't money laundering, I don't know what is.
At the very least, you could fucking fill up these different mom and pop places. You could scatter them. You wouldn't congregate them in one city. That's what did they do with the Cuban migrants? They stuck them under a bridge in Miami, right? Fucking that. They didn't want those ops, so they said, "Fuck it, we still." I mean, we'll just double screw the Americans and then bring these people over, use their tax dollars to pay for a nice posh stay at our friend Sheikh Erdogan over in Pakistan, and we'll get a nice kickback on the 220 million we're spending per month or whatever it is for these 1,200 rooms. And they got a million schemes and kickback operations like that. As long as you're not an American, as long as you didn't suffer through a flood or a hurricane, you're going to get some relief money. So I don't care. Look, just sit tight out there, whoever you are, Israel, Ukraine, Africa. There's $1 billion going to Africa. It don't make a fuck. Whoever you are, it doesn't matter. It's Oprah, bitch. America's Oprah. And as long as you're not a fucking shitty American, you're going to get some relief money. And Biden's making it rain. He's raining fucking pardons. Okay, raining down pardons. He didn't just pardon the crime. I'm hearing now. He said from the years 20, from this interval of time, anything in here. That's a new kind of pardon, Ricky. I've never heard of a blanket, a blank check, carte blanche. But hey, man, more power to you, Hunter Biden. Fucking living your best life.
He is living his best life, man. Blowing hookers and raising hell, man. He is living his best life. But yeah, he's 11. I seen a video. It was pretty funny. It was what was his damn name? I can't think of his name. He was doing a skit, but he was talking about it because after Thanksgiving, he was like Hunter came to the Thanksgiving dinner and had like a gun. Is like, hey, Dad, you're gonna have to help me out here. This is the last Thanksgiving you're going to see me. And he's like, it's got to be 11 years. That's just a random number. Like, okay, it's got to be 11 years that he might have done and might not have done. I've never heard that either. Just it's always been if he pardons somebody, okay, he did this and this, but we're going to pardon him. They do pardons every term. It's part of it.
Yeah,
but not a blanket across the board. he whatever he did or might have done, or he could tell on me, then he's getting pardoned. I think the tell on me is for Daddy is the big part.
To be honest, that seems like a fucking fumble in and of itself. Like you should have just said he's pardoned for the gun shit and left it at that. But what you tried to do is grant him some sort of future immunity. You get pardoned for crimes you've committed that you've already done, and that's something that they then can pardon. There's nothing to pardon if you've not been charged. He's trying to say, like, if anything does come up, he's straight on that too. It doesn't work like that. In fact, you're just being really suspicious, and it makes people think, like, what's he worried about? Ukraine money laundering through the fucking, Burisma gas? Was it China money pouring in through these? You're this unqualified nobody. You're just Biden's son. You're collecting sums to do nothing but sit on a board that you fly over once in a while. So it's money laundering. It's corruption. It's buying influence. It's people buying influence into Biden through Hunter. You're selling your artwork for exorbitant funds. That's racking. You're racking up there too. So it is organized crime. It's RICO. You should go to prison. But something that really bothers me about Hunter is some of the shit on that laptop where he was with these fucking little ass girls in China and shit, young fucking girls, and so you're partying with hookers and doing drugs. That's cool, but it looks like because Joe Biden fucked his kids up. I mean, and we know his daughter wrote in her diary that daddy showered with her, right? We know Hunter was with his brother's widow, the woman that, he fucked his brother's girl. It looks like he messed with other young family members, a niece. This is all on the laptop, right? Biden is trying to pardon his son for all the shit on that laptop that ain't even got brought to light yet through some weird new device called like a fucking, just this blanket immunity. That shit's bizarre to me. I haven't watched a stitch of Fox News, but I can't believe nobody else is saying the same thing. Like, surely this isn't something that's going to stand, this fucking paper shield in front of Hunter.
They are. I mean, they're saying it. There's a lot of the media, and even CNN, and some of them are actually bashing them.
Okay.
But Bo was actually a good one. Bo was actually his son. Bo, the one that died, was actually a good one. And was trying to. He had an organization that was trying to help children and stuff like that. And then he died.
Wow.
I seen a whole. You can look that up. It's a big thing on that. Talking about Bo and all the stuff that he's done, and then you look at.
Whoa, that's a trip right there.
Yeah,
considering who his dad is and what we're dealing with, that Bo died, but was championing this cause. That's a plot twist. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you get a chance, look that up. There's some pretty cool videos talking about that. You can hear what talking about all the I can't remember the name of the company. He founded and stuff, an organization that he founded. But yeah, he was campaigning. So it was kind of like maybe something happened to him too when he was younger. So he knew what happened. So he was trying to help other children to keep from that happening to them, kind of deal. Just speculation. I'm just throwing shit out there, throwing darts at a board. That's it. But I'm not saying it happened. But like you said, with his sister's journal and all that stuff, and all the weird shits happened in that family before that, the possibilities are there.
And the photos of Joe sniffing on everybody like that. The whole thing. It's so bizarro that it. You kind of forget how extreme and just absurd that is, and how unconscionable, but it's so we've been desensitized to this, and we're in such weird times that these things that should have been outrageous 30 years ago, unthinkable 20 years ago, they're now just like another thing to remember if you can, another detail. It's like, oh, I forgot. Yeah, there's pictures of it. I forgot there was all those pictures of him. You just add the whole thing together, all the things, all the pictures of Joe, the allegations of his daughter, the actions of his son, and then you'd add in Bo and his philanthropic work trying to protect against this sort of shit. Yeah, of course he knew something and knew his family was damaged by this. And yeah, that's wild. I was going to look up how Bo died. Did he die in military combat, was it? Or
man, what was it? I don't remember. Here it is. Bo Biden cause of death. If Mike Strange said he said the Bidens were obviously terrible parents. Even their dogs misbehaved. They bit the Secret Service.
Yeah, they did. Fucking Ranger, was it? Yeah.
He died of brain cancer.
Brain cancer. That's right. Okay.
At the age of 46. So yeah, he was super young, and
shit.
Look,
I don't want to be that guy that reaches for conspiracies where there's not one. He may have just simply died of brain cancer, but I don't know. You notice patterns, you notice themes. Anytime somebody comes up against, the machine, and they are genuine, they can't be bought, they are, guided by their mission statement, their focus, they get dealt with. They get offed one way or another. So it's, the name of the podcast, Anything is Possible. It's within the realm of possibility that, that work couldn't stand. I don't know. You get down some of these rabbit trails and honestly, fuck, I'm scared to look, but they talk about Hollywood. I read a book called Transformation of America by Kathy O'Brien, and she was evidently, supposedly, you listen to her testimony, she's a satanic ritual abuse survivor, and she catalogs abuse from people like Hillary Cheney, Nashville stars, Hollywood stars, foreign leaders, and she was she essentially claims to be an MK Ultra sex traffic intelligence asset. Slave, though, a slave to the intelligence community and used as an asset, complete with programming and code words, usually with themes like Disney, Alice in Wonderland, etc. But you read through her testimonies, and in the back, she includes some receipts, and she has got some wild denial of legal proceedings based on national security. So she's been hit with, we can't go into this national security a few times in her pursuit of justice on the backside of this. But anyway, you think about that, and then you think about everything we do know about the Biden family, the Biden crime family. And, you think back to Bill and the sexual profligacy there. You think it's not out of the realm of possibility that these people are a dark cult, and part of their currency of trust involves doing sick, deviant acts, and that we're dealing with the most evil cabal that could be imagined. And fuck, man, it's hard to stare into that and say, fuck, I think we're dealing with that. But man, I'm reminded from time to time that might be just the kind of evil that we're up against, frankly.
I mean, Bohemian Grove, and the more you look into it, the more everybody always, I hate this person, I hate that person. Like the Obamas hated Bush. He was a terrible person. But now you go look and you watch video, and like Michelle and Bush are best buddies, and they're BFFs and stuff. Like you see them all, and like he giving a candy tour. They're all. It just the the brain in my head is just asks that questions like, man, they're all tied together. We're all fucked, I guess, in a way, but they're all put together, and they're all just using this stuff to divide us where they can, because they can control it. Like I said, a lot of times, a lot of the elections you looked at, they're both people, the same people are funding both sides, and it didn't matter if you looked into it, and then you see stuff like that, like they talk terrible about that man, but now he's their best friend. So and you see that more and more. On the other side, you saw like Hillary and Bill was at Trump's wedding and stuff like that. It on the other side of things. So but then all of a sudden they hated each other. It was just, I mean, we're all in a movie. In back of my head, it's kind of like that. We're all in a movie, and we're just watching a bunch of actors.
It does make you think that.
And once they're done, they're done. Their usefulness is done, and they toss them to the side. Kind of like like Diddy and all that stuff going on. Either he said something wrong, or he just got too big for his britches. And I think Epstein and him both did the same thing, and they just okay. And then now I still have hopes and dreams that the lists are coming out to January 20th, like they keep saying. If they do, that's great. And I've said it on here, and we've all three of us have said it. I hope they just drop a bomb on it. I wanted everything released.
Fuck yeah.
I want Epstein. I want it all. Now let's pull the veil of secrecy of it. Let's show exactly how all these Hollywood actors are. Let's show how all these sorry sons of bitches are. And whatever happens, happens. And there's going to be a lot of people upset, and the world's going to go, oh fuck, for a second, these people aren't who I thought they were, but then things will get better, and that's what I want to see. I really do. I want to
I
see
think this.
see a shitstorm hit the fucking media.
If I were Elon and Vivek, I'd say, hey, we promised the 20th, but it's going to be the 21st, because from the moment this new president is sworn in and we begin our mission with the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, we're not going to drop the list first, because we're going to have our units staging their missions at each residence. They need to locate everybody on the fucking list, be there ready to arrest them, drop the list, and then arrest them promptly and haul their ass off, walk of shame every last sick motherfucker, and let the news cover that. Let the news cover 30% of Hollywood in cuffs going to jail for fucking rape and pedophilia and assault and RICO, and just really let the fucking really let the swamp be drained. Anybody in Washington, everybody that's been a part of just the horrible destruction of the nation, lying news media, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm getting a little too overzealous there talking about that. That is a dangerous one. Who's to say, because in this Orwellian age of you can't trust any fucking news source at all. You just can't trust shit. Everything is compromised. It's an upset, right? You can't trust a fucking thing. So in that world, it gets a little weird talking about, but motherfuckers that just like blatantly lied and were shilling for the fucking tyrannical state, like wear your mask, get your shot, stay at home, shut down and bankrupt your business. We don't care. Keep your kids at home and make them half retarded socially because they won't be around people for a couple of years in their prime developmental age. Like the people that did that, I'd say should be punished. But if they were to do some sweeping act of justice like that, I'd be all for it. But I don't see them just releasing the list. If so, you're going to have people like Ellen keep leaving. And then I keep saying this, nothing ever happens. Man, we get excited about, I remember when Bill Barr and then fucking the Durham report's coming. He's going to hold accountable all the people that were using the intelligence apparatus to undermine and spy on a political candidate. It's the greatest act of treason in the FBI and the intelligence community, and Obama spearheaded it. Nothing happened. And so, it's easy for me to get excited, like, fuck, I hope heads roll from DC to Hollywood, but nothing ever fucking happens. Exactly. Because we're in a movie. Now, that's just me speaking from the heart. Humbly, I hope I'm wrong. Humbly, there are always surprises.
Yeah,
there are always surprises.
I'm hoping too. Yeah, the critical thinking in my head was like, yeah, I'm with you. They're gonna throw all this in front of us, and hey, this is gonna happen, and not a damn thing's gonna happen. I hope that's not true. Hopefully, there are still a few good people out there, and but I don't know. I'm torn on it. I'm hoping it happens the bomb dropped on all that shit. But if it don't happen, I wouldn't be surprised one bit, because like the saying said, they're all in a big club and we ain't part of it. So
George Carlin.
The mortal words of George Carlin.
You ain't in it.
We ain't in it. It's it, man. They've been doing these things for so many years, and think they're pretty much untouchable for so long. It makes you wonder.
I mean, we're forced with this. I mean, so like we do see some people scattering and flurrying around like rats, sinking ship, right? And it makes you think that some justice is on the way, right? So at least they're teasing us with that. Like, and the buzz on X on Twitter is that, like you said, on the 20th, we're getting these lists, we're getting the transparency. So, that would go a long way. Let's say that happens. Okay. I'll pay attention. I'll bite, so we'll see. We'll see. More so than looking towards any of the promises that have been made, and I'm on the lookout for that fucking overhand right from out of backfield. Like, what's the next disease or catastrophe or fucking orchestrated event that you bitches deal to us, that while we deal with that, some other shit takes place that amounts to essentially the temperature being turned up, and we're the frog in the pot of water. And they just turn the temp up a little more, a little more. We keep waiting on the big thing, and they're just slowly cranking the fucking dial on the stove, and we're being boiled alive. So that's been working.
Frog. I was always remembered when I was a kid, I was saying a frog on a hot plate. If you throw a frog on that hot plate, he's gonna jump out. But if you put that sumbitch in there and you slowly turn up the heat, he'll sit there until he cooks.
Yeah.
Just on a different, we brought this up earlier, I think, before you got on. Bitcoin is at $103,000, over $103,000 a piece right now. 103,274. Holy shit, that shit's steady.
Bitcoin's at 103. I just have to, it's a theoretical, it's pointless, but what did Bitcoin open at?
Oh, it was like
not
recently,
today, but when it opened,
it was like 10 cents or something like that. When in 2010, it was at 7 cents.
wait, stop.
Here, I'll share it for everybody.
What the fuck?
We're going
to
stop
it. Like one whole.
Stop our gloom and doom for a second. I want to get over. But right here, if you go all the way out, 5 cents. I'm sorry, I had it little head.
You gotta be shitting me.
And I saw that shit. I seen articles on it talking about it. Like, man, you could. And it was there's a picture where there's a guy. Let me see if I can find that. That's a freaking hilarious,
dude. Oh, imagine if you had invested $20 at a nickel a piece. You threw $100 bill. Fuck, that'd be 20 to 2,000. You'd have 2,000. You have 2,000 shares that are now worth $100,000 a piece. Fuck, dude.
If you just even if you got one at in 2017 when it got up to $1,000, you got one
exponential, brother. That is exponential. Holy shit! It's volatile as fuck. I mean, cryptos are pretty volatile, but just look at that action, man, across a 12-year span. I mean, damn it, son. It took some hits during COVID, I see. Recovered.
I mean, this is when I got into it I got into it a little before that. About 18, I got into it. It was around here is when I got into it, and they dropped a little bit, and then it's gone up.
And you can buy a fraction.
Let me show you this. Look at this poor dumb dude. I won't call him dumb, but he's kicking himself in the ass right now.
Oh, that hurts. That fucking hurts right there, dude. Ooh. Man, that hurts.
10,000 Bitcoin. He bought 2 pizzas with it.
Oh, God. Man, it's raw gambling, bro.
It is.
It's raw, uncut, unadulterated gambling, bro. When you start looking at what put options are, fucking, and of course, they're the opposite as well. You got puts and oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank brain for it. One is you're betting on the stock to go down. One's you're betting on it to go up. So they're the opposite of each other. But we always talk about on 9/11, the last couple of weeks leading up to that date, put options. In other words, bets on airline stocks to go down skyrocketed thousands of percent. People were betting on airline stocks to take a major hit, and they ratcheted up right up to 9/11, and then they just skyrocketed at the very end. So there was some insider knowledge like, hey man, bet against airlines. That shit was circulating among the elite traders. They knew airlines stocks were fixing to take a major hit. So anybody that had a put option made a lot of money on that gamble. But as an instrument, as a trading instrument, it's raw gambling. You're not creating anything. You're not like just moving, taking money and investing in this stuff. I sell this and then buy this. You're actually able to get people on the other end to take your bet. And that's how those put options and the other kind of, oh golly, man, what's the other option instrument? It's when you think it's going to go up.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get a put.
You know,
you
they
get
got
the other kind.
You know that I forget what's it called? I forget the type of underhanded shit, but they'll people will come in and put money, and then they'll turn around and they'll put people in power and to just ruin the company. So then they'll pocket all that money, and like they did with Toys R Us, they did. Yeah, they did with Toys R Us. They did it. They tried to do it with GameStop, but the people stopped it. And actually, when the GameStop, the whole situation with GameStop actually brought it more out into the open of what's going on. But you know, they could turn around and you know, and loan money. They could buy shares of with this without even actually not even put no money. Actually taking here and putting it here or whatever. I forgot exactly how it worked. I'd had to watch that thing where somebody was talking about it again, but. And really, they weren't be out no money, and they would just make all the money, and then they would just run the company all the way to the ground, and then improve. And so they did it with all the ones. They did it with Sears. They did it with Toys R Us. They did it with all them Circuit City, all them companies that you think about all the stores and stuff we used to have, and part of it was they would come in there and they pretty much inside espionage and ruin the company. And it's pretty sad. I mean, see, like knowing that all like your favorite store stuff, what happened to them is because of just greed of being evil and shit.
Certain models becoming outdated, like a Blockbuster. There's that story about that guy that had an opportunity to either invest in Netflix or I can't remember exactly what it was, but he made a bet against Netflix, and then Netflix obviously is worth, whatever, billions. It's a huge. So Blockbuster went out of business because people aren't watching VHS. The interesting thing about also with GameStop, so we talked earlier about Nancy Pelosi and that person that's tracking her investments. So there's enough live time information, and I'm not sure what the SEC requires, but certain things you can watch and see what's happening on the market landscape as far as how many people have taken a certain position. For example, with GameStop, the online fucking community of basically people on Reddit and shit, like gaming, fucking they said, hey, look at this huge put option concentration on GameStop. In other words, all these major hedge funds and shit are vastly over their skis betting against GameStop. And it looked like the final stages of a controlled collapse where they finally tanked the fucking stock and then divvy it up and fucking, cash in on the skeletal remains of it, right? They were going to destroy it, the fucking killing blow. But this Reddit community said, let's start, as they're trying to fucking dump off stock and kill, let's start a fucking buying trend and shit and recover this thing. But
and they did. They actually
right.
the little people actually came in there in such droves that they actually, started buying all their stock, which made the price go up, and it cost a lot of them big boys a lot of damn money because they had to pay the dividends on the betting because they said it would go down, and because it went back up, hell, they had to pay the dividends on all that, and they lost millions of dollars because of a bunch of just normal people like you and me went in there and said, no, fuck you, we're not letting this happen, and we're gonna hold. They had that, we're going to hold for life. They kept on pushing their stock up, and it's a kind of feel good story of it, really. That the little people had the power enough to shake up the big dogs and make a difference there.
Yeah, so here's the explanation of a put contract. It's very interesting the way it works. A put option is a contract that gives the buyer the right to sell a specific amount of a stock at a predetermined price called the strike price before a certain expiration date. The buyer pays the seller a premium for the contract, which is a pre-establishment fee per share. So basically, let's read that one more time. That put option in the contract gives the buyer the right to sell. So I will come to you and say, hey, I guarantee, I promise I'll buy 100 shares of your stock at this price, and I'm going to give you, but the price, let's say it's higher. So you give me a piece of whatever the agreement is, a piece of money up front. But if it expires, then I just get that money for free. But if not, I have to honor the obligation, and you could stand to, as you just described, really make them pay. They have to honor the obligation if things don't go their way. So it's like this double-edged sword. But yeah, the people were able to really, I would like to see how many hostile takeovers have occurred since that sort of grassroots little bit of poetic justice took place, because that was probably a rude awakening to a lot of big hedge management firms, that there are enough people paying attention that if you try to do anything drastic like that, they're going to notice, and they're going to stick it to you with a very easy what you would call an impulse, a crowd impulse. Enough people just do one thing and then it sends the motherfucker the other way. It's just a psychology of markets. So I bet that really humbled some of these big players.
I hope.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, James said with all the stuff, happening, all the slowness and stuff, like the UFOs too, like we've been talking about that, and all the UFOs they keep talking about they're gonna bring out. And before you got on, we had Louis Alonzo, whatever. I can't forget how to pronounce that son of a bitch's name. Yeah, Alonzo. He started a new podcast, which he didn't say. No, he was on didn't say shit on it, except for he just glad that people were talking about it pretty much, and and he really couldn't say stuff because he still had government clearance. So same stuff he did, said in the meetings and stuff. I'm like, man, just like I say, I wish all that stuff come out. UFOs, all of it, just let it all out. It is what it is. The people can handle it, and there's gonna be some that are gonna be like, oh my god. But like that, have you seen that that USO? It come out. They showed it today. I don't know if you get to see it. I showed it earlier. I'll show it again for the ones that didn't get to see it earlier. Oop, I hit the button there.
But this thing is making a gradual movement down to the water. And
my bad. hit the wrong thing.
It's like it's showing off. It's not trying to hide. It's not in a hurry.
It's teasing you. And you can see the reflection from it's a real light. It's reflecting off the ocean. It's right down there. Is it going to go in? And boom, there it's in the water.
And you can see the reflection in the water. I've never seen anything like that. It was unbelievable. And I've talked to people since who work RLVs, who work these sensor equipment, things like that, and they've never seen anything like that either.
Tell by the color of the water. Oh, this is a light.
It's getting deeper too.
Under the ocean. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it getting deeper as it goes down. It's not just sitting on the surface and there's swell between you and whatever it is. That thing's in the water and it's diving.
And it's going deeper, and it reminds me of the green because it does look green when it goes into the water, and that's because it's like a yellow light, and then the color of the water, like you described earlier. So this thing is in the water.
The bioluminescence off of it, yeah.
And what makes you say it goes deep?
You can see it. It fades. It doesn't come back up out of the water. There, it's equalizing to its its surrounding. I have a feeling, and it submerges. You can see it go down into the water until the water, the darkness of the water.
What do you think that was?
I always go back to it, but that's the real question: is what are they doing in the oceans? William Cooper, Behold a Pale Horse. The introduction. If you read the intro to this book, he tells you what woke him up, and it was an experience in the Navy of reporting a UAP entering the water, and he was sworn to silence, right? So under threat of court-martial. That's William Cooper's testimony, and that's the preface to this really old book, Behold a Pale Horse. And he was talking about that very thing, the very thing they're still, I say they're bird feeding us. They kind of slow roll this information out at these fucking kangaroo Senate hearings that are just a bunch of nothing burgers. They don't confirm or deny shit. But there are craft, evidently, entering our oceans, doing crazy stuff in the sky. They seem to have an affinity for military installations because more times than not, it's military personnel that are experiencing this, whether they're in their aircraft, all the way back to World War II with the Foo Fighters, the balls of white light energy that followed these planes. It's not new. You go all the way back, if you want, to Ezekiel and biblical and Sumerian texts where they talk about these, wheels and these spacecraft and even beings that are extraterrestrial, not from this terrain, right? Watchers, they called them in certain texts. So none of it's new. I think it's a legit thing, but at the same time, we talked earlier about the deception card and using Project Bluebeam, and so it's just really hard to know which way is up sometimes, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. I mean, they got like India had the Vimanas. It was tales, with the Vimana that they I had to look at the word. I know the story, but I had to look at the word, make sure I said it right. They they had like they were having a battle in the sky. Like the stories of it, they had a like an actual aerial battle in the sky, and that's and it was when you think about possibilities of back in the day, that's why there were so many. We're finding more and more of these underground cities and stuff. And people are asking, why are these people going underground? Well, maybe if you had some, extraterrestrial or somebody's having a fight on the, above the sky, and they're blowing shit up. Hell, of course, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go in caves. You're gonna go down. You're gonna go underground so you can stay safe. And that stuff's kind of makes sense to me on that. But like you said, Ezekiel with the fire chariots with the wheels and stuff. It
Yeah.
just makes you wonder. You see pictures from the 1500s and 1400s, and you'll see in the corner there'll be looking like a spaceship sitting there. I mean, it really does. I mean, like, well, that's an alien. I mean, that's an angel. I'm like, that don't look like an angel. There's something inside of a machine. There's something, it really does. I mean, of course, the Ancient Aliens, show and stuff like that has brought a lot of light to that kind of stuff. And, I don't, as anything and everybody, I don't agree with everything they say on it. I don't agree with everybody, anybody, one person says on anything, truly, but it stuff like that makes you ask the question, like, man, like you said, it's been going on for a long time. Um, the way it looks, and it's time we, pretty much, and our oceans. You were saying we don't know, we have no idea really. We haven't mapped most of our oceans. Only like 5%
Right.
of our
Correct.
oceans been matched.
Right.
And then you got again, you got places like the Great Mariana Trench, who's, you can, it's so deep that we can't even go down there. Like, you can't even send a robot drone sub down there because the pressure is so great, it'll smash it. Though there's creatures down there living, they can handle the pressure, which is crazy. And some of the footage,
Yes.
like some of the pictures of them crazy fish and stuff that are down there, that as far as the deepest they did able to go was wild looking. They got their own illuminance, but they actually make their own light and all kinds of stuff. And
Right.
it's like, that's, everybody talks about space, and we gotta go to space. It's the next frontier and all that stuff. Like, man, we ain't even figured out what's on our own planet, um, let alone what's going on. You know, we need to figure out what's going on in these oceans, and which they might, there might be people that know, and then they can't. It's like today, actually, today's video that popped on uh, today at 7 or whatever. And, it's Project High Jump, which is uh, when they went down there. The government sent a mission down there to Antarctica and see if there was Nazis, or then of course, they had one of the ships get destroyed, and they just kind of blamed it on whatever. They sent Admiral Byrd down there to do it, and of course, they thought maybe there was Nazis down there. I mean, it's all kinds of speculation, but that was what today's podcast actually that popped today. So it was kind of neat. It ties together what we're talking about. Um, Even though I recorded it so many weeks ago, but yeah, it's they might know. It's just they won't let us know. We ain't. It's uh, just let us know. Just come on. But maybe like the movie. Maybe it's like the movie They Live, and everything that how half the people we're looking at actually damn aliens. They just got a cover over us, and we need them. We need them damn glasses so we can put on and be like Roddy Piper and see what the
Yeah.
hell's going on. Like the billboards and stuff, though, it like in the movie, yeah, that's what's going on, you know, for sure. Obey and you're supposed to do this and this and this and stuff. Y'all haven't seen that. I seen a thing talking about John Carpenter movies and stuff. Of course, They Live, and then I watched the Prince of Darkness the other day. That was a crazy ass movie. Um, when the devil was they're trying to pull the devil to the mirror. You ever seen it? Prince of Darkness.
No.
It's a John Carpenter movie. It came out right after like Big Trouble in Little China, and it actually
Okay.
has the old guy and Burton's buddy that was in. Both them guys are in that movie, and so it's if you want to check it out, I could actually there's a link I could find it. That actually you can watch it for free. I know I can get it. It's for if you want to watch it. It's wild, but like I was listening to a podcast talking about John Carpenter movies, and like it's kind of like John Carpenter had like an inside scoop of all the kind of stuff. Like if you actually look into it and what he was presenting, that, he might have been, might have been a lot of truths that he was putting out there because of how he was presenting a lot of this stuff. If you look back into
almost like Stanley Kubrick, essentially like revealing a lot of things through his films. In other words, truth.
Which I believe that. I believe that it's a lot of truths are in the movies. Like we were talking about last week, like The Distinguished Gentleman and the Eddie Murphy movie. We were talking about politics and stuff. I believe a lot of movies has the truth in them, but they put them off as like a comedy or something like that. So you kind of laugh at it. And so you don't really think about what's really going on. But then if you actually watch like Distinguished Gentleman and you see really truly what's going on, you see, talking about lobbyists and how, money on both sides. And, which if you want to go back our last live, we actually talked about that. And I showed the video from that.
Right. Which way do you want to play it? We can make money either way. It's up to you.
Hey, what guys say, it don't matter which side you want to go. You want to go this side, I got money from these people. If you want to go this way, if you want to vote this way, I got money from these people. It don't matter. Yeah. And the very last line has always stuck with me ever since I seen that movie the first time. He's like, when he asked him, he said, why with all this money coming in from both sides, why don't anything ever get done? He said, and see, that's the beauty of the system. Nothing ever gets done. And it just makes me think.
That's sort of the point. At some point, the purpose of the bureaucracy inevitably becomes the sustaining of the bureaucracy. In other words, its mission becomes its own existence, and that's why they bloat. It's sort of just this inevitable outcome of a bureau. So that's really why you need an Elon and Vivek going through and doing the government efficiency and just scalping the fucking landscape of 500 bureaus or whatever there is. You got to get rid of 90% of those. You need to really scale them down, the ones that do remain. But that's what a bureau does. That's what a government does. It grows and it finds a way to become to make itself an in perpetuity sort of system. So that's sort of the problem.
James made a comment in the chat here on Rumble. So maybe we don't need an authority or military to tell us what's going on. We just need to talk to each other more, and then maybe we'll find out that more people have had the weird experiences. And I agree. That's another reason I think they try to keep us separated with the division tactics that they do. They want us talking to each other. They don't want to have conversations like we're having a conversation right now. We're having conversations with the chat that's all over the country right now. From all the way from California to Michigan and all the way around and having that conversations with people and discussing these things. They don't want this kind of stuff to happen. They really don't, because we can figure stuff out. We're smart. We're not stupid people. We've just been fed a lot of garbage and fed a lot of bullshit over the years. But once we actually able to talk with other people and figure stuff out, more and more, and like you have shows like James and his show, the Sarasito Paranormal, and then Troubled Minds, and I'm trying to make this one too. Where people can come and talk and having that discussion and getting actual truth and asking the hard questions, and that's it's we need more of it, but but they want for the people that still even turn on the news and actually look at the bullshit they got pushing out there. I remember several years ago, I went over to my parents' house and my dad was watching the damn news, and he kept on. He was getting madder and madder and madder. He was cussing the damn TV and shit. And I was like, I said, Dad, turn that fucking shit off. He said, what?
Yeah,
turn that fucking shit off, Dad. You're going to have a stroke right here. Now, what's going to happen if you have a stroke because you're getting mad at this fucking news that they won't give a fuck about you? I said, turn this fucking shit off. And he stopped and he fucking put on like a comedy. and his whole demeanor, he was cool and everything. And I mean, uh, I'm like, you allow that energy into your home and allow that negative energy in, and just, and
Yeah.
you can get yourself riled up to a point where, man, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have hell had to have strokes and heart attacks because they get so mad at what they're seeing. I can't believe this shit. Blah, blah, blah. And it's truly not. If you go out into the people and come out to the public, it really not like that. You come, it's like all the racial stuff. There's bad people on both sides, but you come out here. You come out here to the Walmart here and where I'm at, and hell, you'll see older black folks come up to young white folks talking to them because they've known them their whole life. Vice versa, old white guys walking up to young black guys they've known their whole, because they've known them since they were growing up. They know their whole family. They're all cool, and like it's none of that bullshit.
Yeah.
When you actually get out into the public and when you get out into the people, you see a lot of that crap is not even existent except for a small minority of people. But that's the minority of people that's like that. That's the ones that get pushed on everybody. They get pushed in the media. They're the ones that they get the camera in front of. Uh, and even a little protest. Well, we got a protester over this shit, and it pisses people off. But then if you actually go down there and look at what the protesters are doing, there's 5 of them. We got a big fucking protest down here, buddy. I've seen around here. They're like, man, we got a protest about blah 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 going off. And if you just listen to it and not actually think about it, man, why are they protesting that? But then you go down there and it's 5 people walk around because they ain't got shit else better to do. It was like down here. Down in the next town over, there was a store in there, and they made a policy about yoga pants. This is how silly little small town shit, Facebook's group chats and shit, group pages and stuff are. But they said they didn't want their employees wearing yoga pants. So there was a big old little uproar in the little group chat of the town. Small town fucking problems, bullshit. You go out there, and there's actually protesters out there out in front of the place. There was 5 of them, and they were all wearing yoga pants. And this one dude out there had his yoga pants on. He had yoga pants on too. I was like, man, man, that poor bastard. His wife's got out here, got a little baby out there, and I was like, that poor bastard. She told him he was going to get cut off for next year if he didn't go out there with her. I'm sure, but
yeah,
they turned around and I got done getting my food and I come out. It was raining on them and they started packing up. And I looked at him. I laughed, busted out laughing out loud. Be like, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
It was funny to me. I was like, of all the problems in the world, this is what you're going to fucking jump up and down and get out in the street over.
You got some time
fucking dying everywhere. There's people fucking starving to death. There's, like my uncle, he goes and helps homeless people. He takes them clothes and food and missions to them, and actually takes them, and preaches to them, and for bring them to Christ and stuff like that. And he'll take some food and medicine and whatever they need, kind of stuff like that. He's trying to make a difference. He's not standing on the side of a street corner trying to worry about somebody's uniform policy about some fucking yoga pants. I'm like, like priorities, man. It's just crazy.
Yeah, first world problems there for sure. Shit.
It's wild stuff. It just make you laugh though when you see it. Just makes you laugh for sure. I've been at this for 3 hours now.
We got some good time in, man. We had some good.
Oh yeah.
Let's see.
Jeff, I love John Carpenter movies too. There's some good movies. She popped up on the. I didn't realize she was still lit. I thought she might have fell asleep on us. She got quiet. I appreciate all y'all listening and chatting, especially the ones like James been here for the whole podcast. He was the first one to pop up. I sent in the Trouble Minds Discord that I was gonna go live, and he's like, cool, man. Here he was. So good time though. Like I said, we went over a lot of crazy different stuff for sure. There's just so much to talk about though. It's crazy, crazy.
There always is.
I mean, it's like, man, I'm like, well, we're gonna talk about next week, and it's like, shit. There's plenty pops up. I showed this at the beginning. Let me share this real quick while we're just. You seen this with all the drones over the
I
boat?
don't know who could have possibly done this.
Well, Will, one of the ships was in fact inspected by the Coast Guard and they couldn't find anything. The thing is that there were several other suspicious ships in the region that they never got to. And Will, it gets worse. Just a couple of months earlier, there were several mystery drone flights over our nuclear testing range in Nevada, just north of Las Vegas. And again, nothing was done. And it gets even worse. Some of the FBI agents that have been assigned to look into this have reported drones flying over their homes as if to say, hey, we know where you are. And so I really think that what this does is it boils down to an administration that doesn't take these threats seriously. You just had on the previous segment a drone attack on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's house. Of course, we've seen with Russia and Ukraine the utility of drones.
Right.
And yet, somehow we're preventing our warriors from defending their own bases by saying, oh, no, you need to get permission from the Attorney General or from Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas. No, that's wrong. Base commanders have an inherent authority within their command to defend their bases.
Well, why wasn't that done, Chuck? That'll be my final question for you. Okay, there's the issue of where these came from. The second, why wasn't anything done?
Well, the fear was there may be some collateral damage that could happen. They also wanted to use some of these advanced teams that they had, these anti-drone teams. There's only 2 of them. Mayorkas has not allowed more to be built. The problem with worrying about collateral damage is that any damage that would happen would be entirely the fault of the People's Republic of China. It's the People's Republic of China that's sending these drones into U.S. airspace, violating our airspace, just like they did with the spy balloon early last year that, as you recall, they never shot down until it got over the Atlantic Ocean.
Just to clarify on the way out, is that known then, Chuck? It's the PRC that flew these drones, or that's your suspicion?
It's my suspicion because they were large enough. They had to be nation state actors. And I believe only Russia and China have the capability.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Though we probably still trying to push a little propaganda, I guess, still like pushing against. But yeah, man, when I said we're 3 hours in, as a kind of we'll wind it down. That's a lot. I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate everybody. James, Salcedo Paranormal, I appreciate you. So I know you were on here the whole time. Michael Strange, Troubled Minds. He lets me on this radio network. That's where my show's syndicated and stuff on his radio network and stuff. Oh, the cat's broken in my office. Hiker Emoji and Sweets. They were both always here supporting. There we go. I even got a fat cat in the picture now. Let's see. Let me make sure I get everybody. Of course, Jess. Escape the Simulation. Another great show. Troubled Minds. Awesome show. I know they're kind of on break right now. Just kind of holidays, taking a little break, trying to refresh. But I know they'll be raring to go real soon. Like I said, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate eggs are the new gold. Yeah, Mike Strange said he saw it was $8 a dozen out there in California for eggs. We need to get a bunch of chickens, and we can get us a truck. We'll just take it over there and take some of these eggs from here, and we could make a fortune. Get us a refrigerated truck and
arbitrage.
Eggs.
Yes.
We could go making some money. Yeah, Shadow had to make a little appearance, I guess. Come on, Shadow. Silly cat.
Ricky, I appreciate you having me on. Like usual, as usual, thank you. And no shout outs this week. I'll have to think of some people that are worthy for next week. I will shout out to our super cool crew in the chat, man, and all the viewers and collaborators and everybody, because this little thing is growing, and it's really cool to be a part of. So shout out to the community, the A.I.P community, and again, a big thanks to you, Ricky, for hosting.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you able to come, and hoping hope we'll have Jamie back. We'll have the trio back full effect next week, maybe. We'll see how it goes. So
yes.
Watch that cat. Let me tell you a quick funny story real quick on that silly cat. I was singing Zoom karaoke one night, and I'm sitting there and I was listening to the host sing, and turn around, I heard, "Get your ass out of my face." And I'm like, what no? I looked up from my phone, and Shadow stopped right in front of the damn camera and stuck her tail up. So that's all she saw was just straight cat ass. And it was pretty damn funny. She talked to that about that for weeks. Every time, every new show, the new people come on, she said, "You got to see Ricky's damn cat. I seen his damn ass."
That's a cool kitty.
She's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
But I like said, like Dave said, I appreciate y'all for coming on here and listen to our ramblings and kind of our ADD moments. But we're trying to put a good show on for y'all, and throwing some. If you learned something today, that was, that's awesome. Like I said, I appreciate y'all listening, and make sure you like and subscribe and share, and like I said, them other shows that we talked about, and like I said, check them out too. They're on Twitter, they're on YouTube, all the kind of different places you can get podcasts, and check those out too. You get, there's some great stories. Like James does a lot of paranormal stories and stuff, and of course Mike Strange with Trouble Minds all over the place, so just different ideas and stuff like that. And Jess, Escape the Simulation, she does all kinds of different. Oh, we got another cat now. We got different, kind of in the same mode, and have some new guests and stuff about to come up. So y'all check everything out, and like I said, like and share, tell a friend. Next week, bring a friend. What kind of do with the vote? Bring a friend with you, and as always, y'all keep on keeping on, and peace and chicken grease. Y'all be good.
Peace. Oh yeah.
What
Well, awesome, brother. Good show. Good.